Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Kratom Gals. This is an independent opinion-based panel where everyday Kratom consumers react to headlines, we watch hearings, and lots of media coverage that's all about the plant Kratom. We're not insiders. We're not lobbyists. We are Kratom consumers who believe everyday people deserve a voice in this conversation. Each week, we look at what's being said about Kratom, who's saying it, and whether it lines up with the publicly available facts. What you'll always get here is honest reaction and lived experience. So if you're not familiar with me, hi, my name is Madeline Sklar. I host this live stream series as well as the Kratom Stories podcast, and I promise new episodes of the Kratom Stories podcast are coming. Lots of amazing interviews. It's just been on a bit of a pause when we had lost our YouTube channel a few months ago, but new stuff is coming. And I also host the Kratom Real Talk community over on the school platform. I've been a daily consumer of natural Kratom for just about 7 years now. My anniversary is in 2 weeks. I've been consuming this every day, multiple times a day for my debilitating chronic pain. It has given me amazing life back that I lost during the years in pain management and trying to have medical intervention that did not really help. So that's why I'm a loud, proud advocate. I do all these things in the Kratom community. Nobody's paying me to do this. I spend my free time doing this because I feel that strongly and that passionate about Kratom and making sure people are aware of it, especially people in the pain community where I come from. Now, if you find value in these conversations we have and the work that's being done to spotlight Kratom education and advocacy, one of the best ways you can help support this show is by hitting that like and subscribe button over on YouTube. That helps us actually reach more people. So for those watching us on YouTube, hit that like button, hit the subscribe so you never miss a thing. This podcast and the community are completely independent. And this kind of work continues because of the people in our community. Y'all decide it's worth supporting. Y'all show up here to our live streams. Y'all listen to the Kratom Stories podcast. Y'all hang out with us in school. And we really appreciate it. If you want, you can make a one-time contribution to this effort or a monthly contribution by going to kratomstoriespodcast.com/support. We appreciate every little bit helps. Now, a quick note before we begin, this live stream is for educational purposes only. We are not medical professionals here. We are not giving out medical advice. We are sharing our own personal experience and advocating for responsible legal access to Kratom. All views here expressed are our own. I will say it again. I always feel like I have to repeat this. All views expressed here are our own. Each person talking, we're sharing our own views. Now, let's bring up the gals, the Kratom gals that are here with us today. Hey, gals.
Hey.
How is everyone doing today?
Hi.
Doing good. The sun's shining today.
That's a good thing, right?
That's a good thing.
Y'all been pretty cold in the Northeast.
Very cold.
And in the Midwest. Y'all got lots going on.
And in the far west.
and in the far, everywhere up north. We've been pretty lucky where I'm at. We haven't been too bad here. So yeah, it's good to see everybody. And I see there's lots of people in the comments. Let me catch up on all of those. Always great seeing everyone. We always appreciate all the support you all give us just by showing up. It's just amazing. Like how many of you all just come hang out with us on a Saturday afternoon to discuss Kratom, to see all these media reports. I can't believe how many of them, especially right now, because Kratom is under attack all over the country. I've only been in 7 years. You all have been in the Kratom world longer than me. I mean, have y'all ever seen it like this?
Never.
No, I mean, I thought it was crazy back in 2016, 2017, but this, I don't even know if there's a word for it right now. This is just exhausting. It's insane. It's a lot. It's ridiculous. I mean, there's a lot of words I can use for it right now.
It's just this constant barrage, and it just feels like it's never ending.
Yes. And every day is another ban. Every day is another city, another state.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
they pop up.
yeah, hopefully soon the states start winding down, but I think then we're going to start seeing more cities pop up.
Yeah.
That's my fear.
It just doesn't end. And
No.
I just feel like we're all on overload with this. Extreme says Tennessee and now Michigan, which surprises me. Illinois bans fortunately look stagnant. Wow. Definitely an ambush
And
feeling.
Iowa, don't forget Iowa.
Oh, and Idaho.
And Idaho is the new one.
I've got news. There's a lot of news stories that have come out in the past week since we were here. I'm going to play a handful of them. Man, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Kentucky's starting to get hit with a lot of news stories, so we know where that usually leads.
I have one.
Massachusetts has a lot of that. A lot of just random on the news, and it's just like, in these stores, and it's like.
And I saw
there was something going on in Boston the other day, and
Boston and suburbs of Boston. I saw a suburb I used to go to all the time.
Foxborough.
And I'm
like, the good thing I really liked about the Boston one was we were because I wasn't able to attend. There was no way I was going to be able to drive down there the length of time I was going to have to sit in traffic. It wouldn't be comfortable since my surgery, but they gave us the option to send in a video testimony. And it, it goes recorded, and that was really cool. Like I think them seeing you versus, reading something, because a lot of people, when they read something, they put it into their narrative and they take it how they want to take it. If they're seeing it from you, that, they're getting the raw emotions, they're getting, the face behind the story. So I really hope other states, if, we can. Well, I'd like all these hearings to stop, but if we can, it'd be nice to have a lot of other states join in on these accessible ways to send in a video testimony under 2 minutes.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Also, I got to step away for just a moment. Y'all just keep talking. I'll be right back.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, have you heard anything on Boston, Robin? Because I know I think it was the 9th this month. I don't know. I can't keep track.
Boston was a little interesting, to say the least. They had the hearing the 9th. On their agenda, they had one scheduled for the 11th as well. It was not supposed to be public testimony, but it was still supposed to be a hearing. Then everybody kept getting told, oh, we're not doing one. Okay, but it still shows on your agenda.
Right. I didn't know about the 9th. I knew about the 11th, which I was like, okay, I'm thrown off.
Now we're hearing that primarily they want to leave plain leaf kratom alone and go after the extracts, the 7-OHs, everything else. So Boston is still up in the air, most definitely.
Okay.
And the other thing, Nassau County, folks, if you have anybody that you know in Nassau County, and there's got to be somebody that you know, because there's 1.5 million people there, you need to call your city commissioner, your county commissioner, because otherwise it's going to be banned.
There's so many of these right now.
It's crazy. And a lot of people think, like a lot of states are just protected because, the Kratom Consumer Protection Act. It doesn't protect, it does not protect, it's not protecting them from a ban. And I don't think a lot of people are realizing this, it's like, that, it just went into effect for New York, but here New York is going through, more stuff.
Multiple areas, right.
It's confusing, frustrating.
Utah is a perfect example of the KCPA not protecting.
Yeah, the first one. It was.
So is Georgia. Yeah, so is Georgia. Yeah. There's talk about Arizona having some actions. I haven't seen enough to really say more than that. If you live in Arizona, be watching. And if you find something, let people know, because the nonprofit organizations out there, the AKA, the GKC, BAE, we may not always hear about it as quickly as someone living there does. So if you hear something, say something. Even if you start seeing a lot of news reports, that's usually a pretty good indicator that things are going to turn south.
A lot of people, because I know, I think it was you that I was talking to about the fast democracy. .com, because you could that right there, that'll send you, like what bills are coming up. I got one for New Hampshire, but I think it was just like kind of like more of like a regulation thing with the 7-0 versus, getting rid of the plain leaf. So I know a lot of people can sign up on the fastdemocracy.com, and they'll be able to get like their state, and that way at least they'll get the email. And because I know a lot of times I'm personally not getting all of like the AKA emails. I've not gotten, sometimes you just don't get all the emails. So that one I have been getting, because it's been really good about updating me about, my state or Massachusetts, which has been really beneficial. So those that are around should probably sign up for that. That way they know, because these things come on less than 24 hours notice a lot of the times lately.
Yes. And say again, if you see news reports, start paying attention to your legislative actions, because unfortunately the media seems to be leading this charge.
And where are the best places? I mean, they should go to your website to stay up to date at botanicalae.org. That's a good resource.
Yeah.
Other groups have
GKC has a phenomenal map.
Yeah, they have the map. There's lots of information and resources out there. If you go to my website at kratomstoriespodcast.com, I have a resources page with links to all of that. So be sure to check that out. But I would definitely, go over to botanicalae.org for sure. Well, let's get into the videos. I have lots of things for us to watch today. I want to first start with a flashback to a year ago. So I love when like on Facebook, you get the memories, but like on TikTok, it's the previous year on this date. And a really interesting one popped up this week on TikTok. So I put this video out. My lesson I learned, though, is that people don't watch the whole video based on how they commented and thought this was new, and it's not, and they didn't see on the screen that it showed it was from a year ago, but that's okay. I should have put a video at the beginning saying, oh my God, this is from a year ago, or I'm learning. But this is really cool, of something that happened a year ago this week. So let's watch. Hold on, let me get that audio. Why is the audio not? Do y'all hear the audio? I'm not hearing it.
Not yet.
There
we go. Oh, there we go.
Oh my effing God. You got to hear the news that I'm going to share with you right now. Are you ready? I'm going to be on NBC's nightly news tonight, 6:30 Eastern, 5:30 Central. But check your local listing. NBC Nightly News is national. Back in January, I was interviewed by NBC News. They came to my home. They spent hours with me. It was amazing. They wanted to hear how Kratom has helped me. They were very interested in hearing my story. They told me that at some point it would air on their streaming NBC News station. I got word today that it's going to be on the national nightly news, the one with Lester Holt. I'm freaking out. I was not expecting it to be on TV in everybody's home around the country.
I'll never forget, those words. He's unresponsive.
I'm going to play the YouTube version because it's bigger. So I was so excited. I'm like, oh my God, that was a year ago. I was on NBC Nightly News with Lester Holt. Pretty amazing experience.
That's so awesome.
Because like I said in that video clip I had made a year ago, they told me when they came and spent hours and hours and hours with me for my little tiny clip they played, they told me they think it would be on the streaming service, which, is great, but it's not going to be nearly as many people. I did not expect the nightly news. And I couldn't believe I only had several hours of warning. They're like, the producer reached out and said, you're going to be on nightly news tonight, your story. And I don't know what all they used for the footage, but they were very interested in me taking all this footage of me making my swamp water kratom. And I thought, ooh. And me and the reporter had great conversations. I mean, they were here for about, I think maybe close to 4 hours total. And a lot of the time is set up, and then they were just so cool. Spent a lot of time just chatting, and my dog, they love my dog. And so there was a lot of hangout with my dog. But it was a great experience because they wanted a positive story, but they told me there would also be spotlighting, somebody on the other side. So I already knew going into this, they were going to show both sides. I was just amazed that a mainstream media company would want to spotlight something positive about kratom because we don't see it, right? And I was very happy with how it came out, even though they used very little footage of me. But let me play the full video. I just can't believe that was a year ago it came out. So I just think it's cool.
It went by quick.
It did. It went really quick.
Those words. He's unresponsive,
Nearly 2 years ago, Trish Bissone's son, CJ Holowak, collapsed at work and died at just 33.
I'm confident that it was kratom that killed him.
Sold readily at smoke shops, convenience stores, and gas stations, kratom is derived from a plant from Southeast Asia and often marketed as a supplement to boost energy, manage pain, and even possibly help kick addictions. It can be bought in liquid, tablet, or powder form. Small doses, the DEA says, provide a stimulant effect. High doses, a sedative effect. And it's big business, forecast to be a nearly $16 billion industry by 2032. Bissone says CJ was taking a concentrated liquid form for pain after breaking his arm in 2021.
Did he say it was helping, or what were your thoughts?
He did say it was helping. He wrote in that text, it's helping.
An autopsy found CJ died from cardiac arrest due to mixed drug intoxication, including kratom. The other substances in his system, Bissone says, were doctor-prescribed medications he'd been taking for years.
They're still deadly.
I would say hundreds of empty bottles of kratom.
She's now suing the maker of the kratom her son took and pushing for a bill that would prohibit the sale of kratom in New Jersey, like in these 6 states and Washington, D.C.
Take it off the shelves. It's as simple as that.
But down in Houston, Madeline Scalar credits kratom with saving her life. She turned to kratom to deal with chronic back pain after stopping prescription opioids.
I have degenerative disc disease in both my neck and back. Taking high-powered opioids, my pain level on a good day would be a 6. But when I was using kratom and first got started with it, my pain level seriously goes to 0.
I wouldn't want my kid going into a gas station, picking up a concentrated extract and chugging the whole thing.
Professor Chris McCurdy of the College of Pharmacy at the University of Florida has studied kratom for years. He says in low doses, it's about as addictive as coffee, but there isn't enough research on these new higher dose products. CDC data from 2023 shows 37 states and Washington, D.C. had 1,151 overdose deaths in which kratom was detected. But kratom's contribution to these deaths is unclear. The FDA doesn't regulate it, but warns the public against the use of kratom for medical treatment.
The products are on the market because they are treated at this time as a food or a dietary ingredient.
The American Kratom Association accuses the FDA of a relentless campaign to keep kratom off the market rather than ensuring consumer safety. The FDA did not respond to our request for comment.
Her having her share her experience with kratom. I met her on TikTok.
Scalar, who hosts a podcast about kratom, says she's far from the only success story, but even she agrees more laws are needed. For Trish Bissone,
My son died and he shouldn't have died.
it's just not worth the risk. Stephen Roman, NBC News.
All righty. And that CJ law, I mean, they're still trying to push that through, I think, aren't they?
Yeah, they are.
Because I mean, this was from a year ago. But in that case of that grown adult that died, he had all these other prescriptions in his system, and his tox screen was online. I mean, it was all over the place, and it was quite interesting to see what else.
That's a huge part of what gets me is, oh well, he had all these other things, but they were prescription. I don't care.
They took my mom's life. They took my mom's life, all prescribed.
Prescription meds, when not taken properly, can kill you. Kratom, when not taken properly, will make you throw up.
Mm-hmm.
Vast difference.
Yeah. It's fun watching you chat with your grandbabies.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah,
Hey, this is a real show with real people. Dude, we are
Thank
everyday
you.
Kratom
She's up there.
consumers, and that's what makes this so
And everything
awesome.
that life throws at us while we're on here.
Right.
Yep.
You're just being grandma. I love it.
Yep. Yep.
That's awesome.
Mhm.
But
Thank
yeah, I was just so amazed they like showed a positive side to Kratom and showed me making the swamp water tea. And then the part where you see it on the plate and the powder being poured, that was me doing that. The producer had me
I
do
know.
that because they wanted like this footage of like, I love the way they did that part. But that was my Christopher's Organic Botanicals being poured. I still have that bag. I've used that one real slowly because I want that bag to last. But that it's so funny because to me it's like nostalgic. Oh, that was the bag that's famous on NBC Nightly News.
There you
So I
go.
feel about my stuff from like 2016. I'm like, oh, this stuff I use sparingly. Because out like 2016, there was a lot of nice plain leaf going around.
Yeah.
Yes, there was.
Yep.
I miss the I'm going to mispronounce it. I know I am. I always have. Bentwangi.
Yeah,
We
I
used to
bent
just call it
Tawangi.
bent.
Yeah, that's why I just like shorten and go bent. It's just
I
bent.
miss that one. I miss that one.
Yeah.
Is that one just not as common or is it just different?
It's not as common. It was real big back then. And of course, we all know that a lot of this is marketing.
Yeah.
But there was just something. It was formed through the drying process.
Yeah,
So
it was more
a-
like of a fermented red.
Yeah,
I
really.
mean, I see it sometimes, but
almost
not very
brown.
often.
Yeah, it was almost a brown, but it did such an amazing job on pain.
I mean, I've tried some of that one, and I don't know. Reds don't do a hot. The only one that I've been using that has been worthwhile is a red blend from Happy Hippo.
Yeah, I need blends no matter what it is. I can't just have like say like a red bent or like a daytime like red MD. I have to mix it with like either 2 reds and 1 green, but there's always a mix and I get the best results mixing it versus just, whatever it is labeled on the bag because we know it's, red, white, green, 99.9% of them are all, mixes of either red, certain percentages of whites, whatever. But yeah, that's the way I get my best relief. But
Yes,
there's a couple of places I can still find some decent red bent. So I'll let you know, Robin, because that's my go-to. That's my go-to when I'm struggling with really bad pain at night.
Yeah. And I know Chris has the red Rio, and I love it.
Yeah.
And I usually mix it with the red Valley, but it's still just not quite the same.
Yeah, no, I don't think anything is quite the same back then. And I have a red dragon too from then, and that one's one of my favorites.
You're evil.
And then the only red that ever helped me for pain is the red tie. So that is how we're all different.
Oh yeah.
The only one that has ever helped for and I would have that like in the evenings, but it's the only one of all the ones I've tried. It's the only one.
Right.
Yeah, that one's in my rotation constantly is a red tie, red MD, red, like a red Hulu, a red Malay, a red Sumatra, a red bent. Yeah.
Yep.
And the Vietnams I've been finding like a Vietnam or an elephant. Those tend to be my rotation.
Yeah.
Got to keep the body guessing.
Right.
Yeah. And then you have someone like my daughter, adult daughter, by the way, just for those listening. She's well over 21. But for her, white is what does pain, is what kills pain. She is a complete and total opposite. Nice. If I give her reds, she's ready to stay awake for the next 3 days.
Yeah. Yeah. See, reds I could take all day long. Whites, I tend to stay away from it. I've had some success with whites where it's like I've gotten a decent energy, but not too jittery. But a lot of the times I get like a hard crash from it. or I'll get like really jittery and cranky. So I just stay away from the whites altogether because I'm just
and
smart.
generally it makes me tired, yet I'm trying yet again with some. And I have the green Borneo from Christopher's, in fact. So I got a white Borneo and then put just a little dash in the green. And so now I'm trying that out to see how that might, you know, help, at least for the daytime. So coffee replacement, you know, relief type of thing. So
My two
I'm
favorite
trying.
mixes is the red tie with the green Borneo. Those are really good, and
Nice.
and I'll take that during the day. It's you know, like mid-afternoon. It's a nice combo for me, definitely, especially like when my spine, I just want to wring it out like a towel. When I have that feeling, that's always really nice to have.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, and Craig's making a good point. It all depends on the vendor too. And that, at least for me, that's what I've always noticed, because like, it's interesting. Maine Dawes, everybody always raves about different Maine Dawes, right? And they usually don't do much for me.
Me
And
neither.
I've tried
Yeah.
different brands, but
It's
then I'll try.
sadly almost like a generic for me. Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
but then
I
I'll
don't know.
try
Yeah.
a certain one from one company and it works one way, and then I do it from another
Mhm.
company works. But then that goes into, well, it could be the whole marketing thing and how some of the names are just made up, or they just use the names when it was shipped over from where they got it from. And believe me, I totally get all that. I understand
Mhm.
that concept. But for me personally, what I do is when I find something that works, then it's like, okay, that's gonna be part of my rotation. And as I find things, so like with Christopher, he has like 2 different ones I like the most. So I'll typically get those. And then Happy Hippo has several I really, really like. So like, but I'll try different ones, especially from the companies that sell the smaller sample packs. So you can just try a smaller amount. It's a lot cheaper and see what works
Yeah.
for you. And that's actually
Mhm.
one of the ways I first started. I mean, first I start by buying big bags from somebody in a Facebook group that was an online vendor. But I didn't quite understand it all yet. And so, and having a lot of issues figuring out what worked. And I'm like, why did I buy so much of this? And then it's like, oh, here's an online company I found that like they got these little tiny sample packs. I'm like, oh, and they were like $2.95 each, $2.95. I'm like, I was gonna order a bunch of these and I can just try little bits of different ones. And through that
Mhm.
process, I found one of their greens was phenomenal for me. And it's like, this was a good way to go, to
Mhm.
get more variety from a brand. But there's, I mean, but I do tell people, like, try a couple of brands, try a variety of different ones. And when you're brand new, try a red, a green, and a white separately. Keep a journal so you can keep track of like how it works
Yes.
for you. Some people, like Venus is a great example. Doesn't matter what color, they all work on her. I'm like, oh, you're so lucky.
Mhm.
When people talked about how white was so energetic, I was like, I can't do whites at all. White kratom, oh, bad experiences
I
with
can
it.
only
Mhm.
do white if I mix it with a green or a red. I cannot do whites on their own.
Yeah,
Yeah.
me neither. Yeah. Yep.
But
And
it just takes
I'm one of
trial and
those.
error.
I've tried so many different vendors, and I found Chris, and it's like that's it. I still try others because it's always good to have something different in the rotation.
Mhm.
But
Yes, absolutely. And we got a lot of people commenting and sharing their thoughts on all of this too. It's always great hearing how this works with everyone else. And we're all different. We're all different with what kind
Mhm.
works, with the amount that works.
hmm
There's no one perfect amount yet. When somebody comes to me and says, I'm taking 50 grams a day, I'm like, okay, that's too much.
yeah,
Nobody
yeah.
needs that much.
Mm-mm.
I mean, I'm on the
hmm
higher side. My daily, I take about 5 grams 6 times a day. So I'm taking about 20 grams a day. I think that's kind of a bit on the higher side, but
That's what I used to think for myself.
it's the only
But
amount that manages my pain. I
yeah.
need 2 teaspoons of powder to
Mhm.
manage my pain, and it lasts for 6 hours. That's what works for me. And I
Mhm.
don't
hmm
feel like taking 20 grams a day is
And
too much for
taking
me.
more for me almost canceled out the relief that I got from it. So it made no sense to keep taking it. Like sometimes, we're desperate, we need more relief or whatever's going on in our mind and our body where we would want to take more, but I just found that it didn't assist anymore, and it almost canceled out, and then there was no benefit to like having, let's say, a cup of coffee. So the energy was gone as well, because now you've crossed over that threshold of, where the energy exists in the lower, and it just didn't, I learned. And so I'm glad that I learned.
It's finding what works for you without going over, like if it's not benefiting you, don't take more.
Yeah.
Right.
And I was right there with you for quite some time, 2 years probably. I was 16 to 20 every day, almost every day. So
But see, I've also experimented with trying a little more and trying a little less. If I take more, I don't feel, my pain does not get more, I'd feel crappy. If I take less, I don't get the pain relief. So it's finding what works for you. And some people only need a quarter teaspoon or half a teaspoon and they get amazing relief. And it's like, that's awesome. It's finding what works for you and
absolutely always.
And it working consistently. If it's not working well, take a break.
Yeah.
That's never happened to me. I've never needed a break.
And
it's never
amazing.
not worked.
Yeah.
No, I've never needed a break either with the rotation. And then like, if I find if like my pain is too high or, my energy levels are low and I'll take more, like it just doesn't do it for me. But that's when I, switched over to adding like some botanicals into my rotation, like, shilajit and moringa or, like bala or guana, or however you pronounce all of these, but, some for energy. There's a lot of like other great botanicals out there that are safe and do pair well with kratom, which is really helpful.
And it's
that
finding,
way, you don't need that kratom and you're like, oh, okay, well, I could take something, like say you're tired, you want to get tired and you've taken your kratom and it's just not enough. Passion flower, blue lotus. There's so many wonderful things out there that are so available, like to me, plant medicine. It's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
I'm big on aquama.
I've always heard good things. You know who used to talk about it when I first started the school community a few years ago was Dee. Dee used to bring it up a lot.
She swears by it. And I'll tell you, she was the reason why I tried it, but it is so bitter. It's so bitter. That's one thing I will cap. I will cap the aquama because
let me tell you a secret. So, when she had raved about it, I thought, let me try this. So I got some of the powder from Happy Hippo, but everybody talked about it. I remember her specifically saying it was one of the worst tasting things ever. So you know what I did? I used Blake Papes. I didn't taste it. And so that's like a great way to do it would be Blake Papes. If it's the powder, like if it's capsules, that'd be different. But if it's powder, it didn't do anything for me. I tried it for a while. No, I got nothing out of it. But we're all different. That's why you got to experiment and see. And I think it's great that some people say they get amazing pain relief with that.
Absolutely. I mix the aquama and I could be butchering it, but in Carvella sinensis, it's something like that. It's like a Chinese herb, like geared towards inflammation and nerve pain. And it's remarkable. It's one thing like I swear by for like my trigeminal neuralgia. That is one thing I take it every single day. I take it every day with my morning dose. And it literally like I've got neuropathy and it's almost like, taking, something to like not have to have and kind of stay ahead of the game before like a flare up happens. But like when I am in a flare up with my trigeminal neuralgia, which happens about once, maybe twice a year, grateful for that. But when that's the only thing that I get the relief from. Like sometimes kratom doesn't even touch it. Sometimes 7-0 doesn't even touch it, but I'll take like the Carvella sinensis and that's been a lifesaver.
Well,
and that to me, that's what aquama does. Is it helps with the nerve pain. Doesn't do anything for any other pain, but it does help with nerve pain.
And when I'm looking for extra energy, because extra kratom won't do that for me. So when I need extra energy, I tell you what's been the best thing ever is the NeuroGum. That NeuroGum, it really works. It's not all hype. When they were all over TikTok a few years ago, I thought it was just hype because everybody was talking about it and promoting it. And one of our Kratom community members made a video and she says, I'm just going to try it and I'm going to give you the honest truth. And since I knew her and trusted her, she said it tasted good and it really does give you a boost of energy because it has natural caffeine in it. And I'm not a coffee drinker, so I thought, oh, this could be an interesting way to get some caffeine.
Yeah.
And I love it. NeuroGum To me, the mint gum
I've
tastes
still been
so
meaning
good.
to try it.
It tastes, well, this everywhere. You can get it everywhere. I think CVS sells them now. I got mine initially through TikTok on the TikTok shop. I now just usually order a bag of it on Amazon. I like this morning, I was feeling just blah and I was tired. I'm sure it's all this changing weather that we're having. Because this time of year it'll do that to me. And I had a couple of pieces of my NeuroGum, and and I think it pairs well with kratom, because kratom and caffeine do really well together, in my opinion. So
I've even made my tea with the coffee instead of the water. Now, oftentimes I just use the warm water or start it off hot, let it steep a little bit, mix it. But I'll also dash it with the coffee and have that. So
yeah, Blade Papes are an amazing thing for supplements. It's great for things like kratom and aquama and other things that taste terrible. So it's kind of like a little rice paper thing, but it's made with potato starch and it's all natural. And you put your powder in it and you wrap it up and you can dip it in water. And when you dip it in water, it kind of gels it a bit. So you can just swallow it and it glides right down. I have a long 7-minute video over at Kratom Real Talk in our community over in the classroom section. If you want to, I walk through step by step how to use it. So go to kratomrealtalk.com. That's our community over at the school platform. Go to the classroom. I have a bunch of stuff for beginners, and in there is my I just literally just set up the camera and just press record. And I'm like, let me show you all how I use Blade Papes. And it's a game changer if you don't like the taste of any powders. I've used it for kratom. I've used it for the aquama. I've used it for turmeric. Oh, I can't stand the taste of that. Like anything that tastes nasty, and then just supplements in general. If you do the powder, if you find that capsules make you feel bloated and blah, this is a great alternative to capsules. So
I did the same thing, Madeline, with toss and wash, because a lot of people are like, taking the capsules and they have either like the constipation or, tummy issues from it, because it's a lot of the capsules aren't made with, they're made of more of a gelatin versus a veggie based capsule, and I know that messes with some people's tummy. So I ended up making a toss and wash video, and I've sent it to, tons of people, and they're like, oh my gosh, this is the greatest thing. Like, I thought I was going to choke. And I mean, I did too, but I mean, I started off like with the smallest, like, I think it was like 1/4 of a teaspoon. Now I just do I could do like a full tablespoon at once, but I don't. I'll just do 1 teaspoon at a time, because you can choke a little bit if you swallow it the wrong way, like you do
right.
even, water.
I'm looking for one of my, I know on TikTok I have videos with Blade Papes. I'm trying to find one that I could play real quick, because they're easy to use, and it's a real game changer. I don't use them all the time because I'm so used to my swamp water method, but I wish these had been available when I first started 7 years ago, because I would have just done this method. Okay, I found.
Well, you're getting a more accurate, like with capsules, they don't dissolve at the same rate. So it's like, right, really, how much of your dose are you getting at that exact time? Where Blade Papes and toss and wash, it's like it's like an instant, in the body. It's already, there's no capsules to, dissolve through. Exactly. So it's a lot easier. And I find it does, I feel the kratom relief faster that way than if I was to just take caps, and if I do take caps with anything, like even my aquama, I poke holes in the ends of it, so it does dissolve at a more even rate.
Yeah, I found one of my TikTok videos I'll play. And yes, I remember Angela. So Angela, I remember a year or two ago, she went over to our Kratom Real Talk community, because I told her I have the video over there, my long form video of how I use Blade Papes. And I remember, Angela, you said you watched it and it really helped. Let me play this short little video. And the guy in here, that's the guy who invented Blade Papes, that started the company.
Let me show you why. These are square films.
Hold on, I got to get it from the beginning.
I know you all don't believe that this is easier to swallow than this. Let me show you why. These are square films. This is what happens when they're dipped in water. So if that turns into a gel around this powder, this becomes almost like a liquid you can't taste. So I want you to watch this 3 or 4 second window very carefully. Right there, you see it? Right? and that was easier than a capsule.
They really are easy to do. So I tell you when it really came in handy for me. So we had a hurricane a couple of years ago, came right over us in Houston, and I was without power for 9 days. Well, you can't make your swamp water tea with no microwave. And I am not a toss and wash gal. No way, no can do. Although if I was, with all the craziness in the world, I'm like, what if we have some apocalypse? I will have to learn how to toss and wash because I only have so many blade papes. I mean, I actually have quite a few still. So it's like, I need to remember where I have those. Anyway, just joking. But I had no microwave. I couldn't use my microwave for 9 days. And I'm like, oh, so blade papes really came in handy. So yeah, it
should be all in all of our tool, but I don't have them yet. I know I've learned from you how to utilize them, but I haven't got any, but they should be in all of our toolboxes. Our Chronic Care toolbox,
absolutely,
or whatever, our items toolbox, zombie apocalypse toolbox.
Zombie apocalypse.
Mm-hmm.
I know I have
every time I've ever tried, I didn't know about dipping in water. Every time I've ever tried, they just tear. So it's like, what's the purpose of using these? I'm going to taste it anyway. I'll just do toss and wash.
Right. Yeah. I found another video. I knew I had this other one. I had to just go find it real quick. So this is actually on our Kratom Real Talk. Let me play this real quick because this is a good one I made a few years ago. Have you tried blade papes yet? This is such a great way to consume your supplements, especially stuff like kratom. So I like the ones that are shaped like funnels. These are made out of potato starch. So I get my favorite kratom and I'm going to measure it out, put it into my blade papes, and it is just a really cool way to consume your kratom without having to taste it. Now I'm going to dip it in some water, and that's going to kind of gel it up a little bit so I can swallow. Down it goes. It glides right down. So easy. No taste. It is awesome. So check out bladepapes.com. Okay, that's my short video on it. But yeah, I knew I had those somewhere. Christopher is going to be joining us in just a little bit. It'll be nice having him on. It's been a minute since. Well, we need to get into some news stories because I have a whole bunch of them to play for y'all today. So let me cue these up. But I love when we just have these very organic conversations because a lot of it too is just based on what people are saying in the comments, and it just is. I love this, and I know we're helping a lot of people that are watching us live today. And yeah, Angela, she watched those videos. Like I said, she watched the videos that I put up, and when she first tried, because she told me it really helped her that those were available. And I tried the capsules and pour it out to create toss and wash. Yeah, some people do that. Some people buy the capsules, they open them up. It's more expensive to buy capsules than just powder. I would just get powder if that's what you're doing, because capsules are going to require labor, so it's going to cost more to buy them that way. Just FYI.
Plus, there's more variety of different product you can choose from. It seems like I find capsules are very limited to certain, strains, whatever you want to call them. They're very limited, with what you can grab. But yeah, you're right. It is way cheaper just to buy the powder alone because, you're paying for part of, the product to be capsulated. That's why it's a little bit more. But yeah, definitely buy it online and get it in powder form.
Absolutely. And Ushnish, I'm not sure how to pronounce your full name, but no question here is dumb. So y'all feel free to ask any questions. We're here to help. We're all in this together. We're just everyday kratom consumers. And, we're here to help everybody out with any questions you have. So that's one of the benefits of being here live is just, asking your questions or just commenting on the discussion that we're having. And everybody's agreeing that it is more expensive to buy capsules than powder. And
I've heard that people do that often, and part of it is because it's more of a measured dose, so it makes them feel more secure in their dosage amount.
Great point. We get a digital scale.
Get a digital scale and weigh it yourself, and that way you still know. And it's still cheaper than buying capsules.
And Gigi's making a great point here, which I didn't even get into yet. So thank you for throwing this in, that I still like the pressed tablets. It's not 708. These are pressed natural kratom leaf tablets, either botanicals and super speciosa. I have information on that over on my website at kratomstoriespodcast.com/vendor. I highly recommend those if you're looking If you don't want to use powder, because a lot of people have a hard time with the taste of powder. Some people don't want to do capsules. They're just trying to find like what's a good way to do this as simple and easy. Tablets are easy. You don't really taste it. They're small. You just pop them. You're done with it. But because they're small, for me, I got to take a bunch of, when I do the tablet version, they're small. And I need to take about 12 of them to equal my 2 teaspoons, because it's just, you could crush those tablets. It's just the natural powder leaf. It's just pressed into a tablet. So, that's the only thing. I think some people are like, whoa, I got to take a bunch of these. Well, they're little tiny tablets. But yeah, those work really well. I actually always have those with me when I'm out and about. I never leave home without them. There's nothing worse when you live with chronic pain and you're out and you don't have kratom with you, and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm stuck somewhere and I can't get back home to take my kratom. Been there, done that. So I always have kratom tablets in my car. I always make
sure. I've got an emergency stash and like a little to go, like a few different like purses, whatever I'm taking, either a purse, a backpack, or like a small clutch that, I just go into like, a nightclub or a concert with, but I have it everywhere. And I have like a little emergency stash in my car too. Cause you never know, like, especially out here, I look at it, it's like, well, you never know when there's a snowstorm coming. I need a half a tank of gas. I need batteries, flashlight. I need my kratom in my car.
There you go. Ready for
my necessities and some water.
Hi, Sherry. Thank you for coming and joining us. Always great seeing you here. Thank you so much for your support. It's greatly appreciated. It's finding what works for you. A lot of people use a little digital scale and measure it out. Does anyone have any GI problems from either long-term kratom use or irritant from powder? No, for me. What about you all?
When my Crohn's is bothering me, then I don't, as we all know, I can't, stomach the powder. It's just, sometimes it's hard to even drink water, and just have anything on my stomach, like when I'm like in a Crohn's flare. But that's, I'll either, I'll take my 7-0, or I'll take my other tablets that I have, whether it be just a pressed leaf, into a tablet, or, mitt or whatever, whatever I need to use when I'm in my flare is what I use, is what I tend to go for. But yeah, the powder does mess with me when my stomach is not the best. But other than that, like, I mean, I've had GI issues my whole life. I've had, but I haven't had any issues with it, like on a good normal day for me. No issues.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
And I've been consuming kratom since 2014 and never had GI issues. As long as I drink enough water. That's the big thing.
Right, exactly. Angela's asking, back to the pressed tablets, does it take a while to dissolve? Not for me. I tell you what, when I take those, they work so fast. To me, it's practically as fast as just doing my swamp water tea, which I wasn't expecting. So they seem, for me, it might be different for others, but they dissolve very quickly for me. Capsules did not. Blade papes, of course, dissolve very quickly, because you saw in that video when Harrison did that, it starts gelling up, so it immediately dissolves when you ingest it. The only thing with blade papes is when you're swallowing it, pay attention and just swallow it really fast with some water, because if you hesitate, it could get stuck in your throat and it bursts open and you got all that powder in your throat. That during my 9 days of no power with the hurricane, there was one day I just was in la la land. I wasn't paying attention to what I was doing, and I was taking it, and I somehow hesitated as I was swallowing, and it opened up, and it was so gross to taste all that powder. But it was the only time that ever happened in all the years off and on I did blade papes. So just be aware of that. But the pressed tablets are just so easy peasy, but they do cost a little bit more. If you go over to my website, to my vendor page, I do have discount codes for those two companies, that Etha and Super Specioso, where I get mine from. So
when I use the blade papes, I find that and I do this too, like when I toss and wash, both both blade papes and toss and wash, I find if I tip my head back, it goes down a lot easier, because, the blade papes, they can open up a little bit earlier, but I found that tilting my head back, like when I toss and wash or take the Blake Pape, it does help it go down. And I usually will use like a warm tea, and it really just kind of washes it all down. I found like if you ever toss and wash, if you ever get like a Blake Pape or even like capsules, I find the warm stuff helps it kind of wash down a little bit, because sometimes it can bug your throat if it doesn't go down the right way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Willishness says, I had a GI motility test done 2 weeks ago because I have bizarre GI pain. My stomach works fine, apparently. I mean, I go ahead.
Something I would add in is anyone that is working to improve their health for whatever causes or reasons, make sure you're also looking at taking a pre and probiotic, because none of this product that we're ingesting is going to benefit you if it cannot be dissolved properly by the stomach.
Mm-hmm.
And the pre and probiotics are miraculous. I'm 65 years old. I just finally got convinced to start taking these routinely.
They're
And
fantastic. Gut health
the difference is
amazing.
Yeah, the difference. I take less kratom now than I did before because I'm absorbing it better. I take less other supplements than I did before, and everything works better. So definitely look at pre and probiotic.
Well, what's another good one for like keeping the gut healthy is aloe vera juice.
Yes.
I've used that off and on for years, and it doesn't taste, to me, it tastes like liquid plastic. It tastes so gross, but it is like one of the best things you can use for your gut health is that. And so I try to be good. Problem is I'll buy it and it's always like in some big jug, and I just don't ever finish it in time before it expires. And it's like, why did I buy that? I spent all that money for that. I wish they would sell it in smaller quantities,
Have you thought about putting it into smaller containers and freezing containers?
I have not thought of that. That's an interesting idea.
Put it just in water bottles and stuff and freeze them.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Good idea. Mm-hmm.
It's hard to think of everything,
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to think of it all. There's just there's too many things. All right, let's get into the news stories and see what's happening in the news. I got a bunch of different ones that have been popping up all week. So let's start with this one. This one is from Kansas.
More than 1,000 bottles of kratom extract liquid products sold at retail stores across Kansas have been seized now by the Alcohol Beverage Control Division. The Department of Revenue Division says that a formal complaint alleged those products marketed as shots contained alcohol and were being...
Have y'all ever, I've been like texting some of my kratom industry friends, like, we know with extracts, many of them use like an alcohol process to extract. Are lab results supposed to show 15.7 to 16.1% of ethanol alcohol in it? I've never seen this ever mentioned.
That's insane. And it makes me
weird.
wonder if it's counterfeit or a real product.
Oh, because it could be a counterfeit. It probably is a counterfeit product.
Yeah, because
wow.
I don't think I've ever seen that particular product with those kind of, I know I've never seen those kind of numbers.
OPMS, I think they're an AKA vendor, I think.
They are.
Yeah.
But they are, because they're one of the biggest, they have also had a serious amount of counterfeit issues.
I bet it must be counterfeit then, because my understanding is the alcohol like when they're doing that extraction process, the alcohol evaporates. And even when I talked last week about that deep dive I did into the whole pool shock thing with 7-OH, a lot of it talked about how extraction processes work with different products and even with the 7-OH. And, you're putting these chemicals in to do this extraction. And that's a common thing with pharmaceuticals. A lot of pharmaceuticals and things, over-the-counter things we consume.
Even our compounded meds.
Yes, exactly. But seeing this reported, first of all, it's making OPMS look bad.
Right.
And I'm curious, like, what's up with this? And I was curious if we were going to hear anything from them. I haven't seen anything come out from them. But
I'm even
counterfeit,
wondering if
I think it's counterfeit. Yeah, I think that's a great point y'all brought up. It probably is.
that's a great point, but I even wonder if it's true or not. Like, how would we even know if they were being honest with us to say that that's really what, like, can I see the results? Because nowadays you can't believe anything. Everything is for a big news report or to make issues. So, I mean, I would,
yeah,
you know, at least have that like a little bit. Is it even true?
It makes you wonder. And Mel says, I remember when those OPMS fakes were going around. So, but you would think you would think the company that's being, the finger pointed at would hurry up and make a statement. Like,
yeah,
that's not us.
Or they, or even them release report, the reports of the testing. Because I would, if I knew it wasn't that way, I'd have that in the public eye right away to show that that's not true.
Exactly.
So, yeah, both ways,
do
really.
we know what they actively use social media? Like, you would think there'd be something. I don't think they're on Twitter.
I have no idea.
I mean, I haven't. I mean, this news. Let me see when this news story came out. I mean, these are all the ones I'm showing today are very new as of this week. This story came out. Well, the story came out 20 hours ago, but
yeah, it's brand new.
But the thing is, but when it's put out, most times before it goes out to the public, they're contacting any companies involved to get their side or to hear what they think. So it's not like you would think that maybe, I don't know, but just keep an eye out, because I sure like to know like what's going on, because that's really bothersome. This is something that's painting Kratom in a very negative light to see it reported this way.
Yeah.
In a news story. So I just wanted to stop that part real quick to, you know what? I need to go grab something. Y'all give me 1 second. I'll be right back. I just,
well, especially this being one of the largest vendors out there, having that kind of a report, I'm anxious to see their response.
Same.
I don't know if Madeline's planning on playing the one about the bulls being injected with kratom. Have you guys seen that one?
I don't think so.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I saw that one. Yeah, that they are injecting bulls with kratom for sedation.
Before transport.
And that's like how they use ketamine in in vet offices. Like, I'm sorry, but my leaf ain't knocking out your bull. Like, no, like, there's no way.
I grew up on a ranch. I guarantee you they are not injecting anything that is not totally approved by the USDA into their bowls, let alone before transport. That is literal dollars on the hook. You don't play with that.
I wonder how much they were paid to say that one.
Wow.
This guy says he's a rancher. No, he's not.
I hadn't heard that.
Yeah, that's the newest one I'd seen. I tend to try and avoid news stories when I can.
Yeah. I look at my
because I get too mad
every day, but yeah.
I get too angry.
Oh boy.
That 16 to 19% though is crazy amounts of ethanol.
Yeah, that's high. That's significant. I know that sometimes when I get a product, and leaving kratom entirely out, because like we talked earlier, it's other supplements and tinctures and things that we get. Sometimes there's a vague, like you can actually taste it was extracted with using some form of alcohol. But I don't think even that would equal the percentage that they're talking about now.
No.
All right, let's get back to the video. I just definitely wanted to stop on that part because I'm just curious. But if anybody hears anything about it, I definitely would like to know. So be sure to let us all know.
Sold without proper licensing. Some ABC agents purchased sampling for testing, and they confirmed the products had enough alcohol in them to be alcoholic beverages under state law. They obtained search warrants for 12 businesses across Kansas and 2 locations in Topeka and 1 in Junction City. Criminal charges are going to be submitted now to the respective county.
Whoa. I should have kept going before I stopped it. Oh my gosh. That's not good.
Criminal charges?
Wait a minute.
Wow.
Let me back it up because I
That
had
may be why there has not been a statement made yet.
let me back up because we need more time. I'm sorry. Let's get back to where let's just do the whole thing again. Sorry.
More than 1,000 bottles of kratom extract liquid products sold at retail stores across Kansas have been seized now by the alcohol.
Hold on, Becca. Let me put Becca up on screen. Hey, Becca. All right. Good to see you.
Becca. Good to
We're,
see you,
we're,
Becca.
we're playing this interesting story.
Hi, Becca.
Hey everyone, good to see you guys.
Good to see
Yeah,
you.
I was just catching up in the background. Definitely excited to hear what they have to say.
Yeah, let me finish playing this, but I just realized you were here.
Beverage Control Division. The Department of Revenue Division says that a formal complaint alleged those products marketed as shots contained alcohol and were being sold without proper licensing. Some ABC agents purchased sampling for testing, and they confirmed the products had enough alcohol in them to be alcoholic beverages under state law. They obtained search warrants for 12 businesses across Kansas and 2 locations in Topeka and 1 in Junction City. Criminal charges are going to be submitted now to the respective county attorney's offices where this happened for review and possible prosecution.
Wow.
Wow.
That's
insane. That's probably why there's not been a statement released.
So it's got to be counterfeit, I would think.
Oh, God.
That brand's been around a long time.
I don't think people would be willing to risk their business by doing that. I mean, it doesn't matter if somebody's been in if they're popular or not. I just find it hard to believe that they would. I'm not saying it's not
money. It's probably cheap. It's going to be cheaper
but
to go buy the fake.
Easy to bust them.
They may not know it's fake. But think about it. They probably didn't know it's fake.
On the fake part, that would be true. But
but they're going to be liable.
The real brand, right? That's. Oh my goodness! I just.
Yeah.
Unless it was intentional. I mean, I don't know if it wasn't intentional or not. Heck, we don't know.
Yeah. What's up?
Madeline, I asked if Twinkle knew if you were going to show the clip about kratom being used to inject bulls for transport.
Which one is that?
There's an article. There's an article out there. This guy, he's supposedly a rancher. He's a legislator.
It sounds
right now I'm half brain dead, so I'm not even remembering which state. I want to say Kansas or Missouri, but this guy is actually trying to say that he knows kratom is dangerous because they inject bulls with it for transport.
I heard about that, but is there a video of that? Is there a video?
I'm trying to look for it.
There is, yeah.
That's
and when I heard that, it's like, I grew up on a ranch. No, you don't put anything in a bowl that isn't completely and totally approved by every agency out there, because that's walking dollars on the hoof. And they sure aren't injecting them with kratom.
No, they sure aren't. Wasn't that like in one of the hearings or something?
I think so. And then he went on to elaborate on it.
Yeah. Wow. But that story we just watched was out of Kansas. This next one is Idaho. Idaho is under attack. And that's where Happy Hippo is based out of. They've been putting some videos out on their TikTok talking about it. I'm going to play. Let me know if you find that, Twinkle. I'm going to play this one from Idaho.
I just asked it, did a rancher inject kratom into a bull? And it says there's no evidence, AI overview. But I am going on to see news stories related to animals and kratom.
But I think it was in one of the hearings. Wasn't it mentioned in one of the hearings? I think it was in one of the hearings.
Okay.
It sounds vaguely familiar, but I don't remember where I heard or saw something about that. All right, let me play.
The bull would probably feel fine and feel like he was having the best day of his life, but I don't think anything other than that.
Feeling no pain, having some energy.
Right, that would be it.
Living his best life.
Right.
Getting all the gals.
Right. Yes, ma'am.
I mean, come on.
Oh,
What the
yep,
heck?
yep.
Bulls. That's just a
Yeah.
crazy statement to make. All right, let's
is.
watch this. Let's watch this Idaho news story that came
Staying
out.
on the Capitol Watch now, a bill proposed yesterday would ban all kratom in Idaho. Specifically, House Bill 864 would amend Idaho's Uniform Controlled Substance Act to classify alkaloids and kratom as Schedule I controlled substances. The Police Chiefs Association is helping push this bill forward.
We've seen an increase in overdoses in the state of Idaho on kratom, and many of which have shown that what was in the system was natural kratom. So whether it's natural kratom or synthetic kratom, it poses a risk to people in the state of Idaho. And we're seeing more and more kratom products that are found when we're doing search warrants and finding other illicit drugs. We're seeing them, kratom products in with traffic accidents and those things. And so really this is one more step from us to do our job to protect and serve the citizens of the state of Idaho.
While several states have chosen to regulate kratom, Basarachea believes a ban is better than regulation because it would normalize what he views as a drug. At low doses, kratom acts as a stimulant. At higher doses, it acts as a traditional opioid. And as we've reported extensively, it can be highly addictive. This bill was introduced after another kratom-related bill failed to move forward this session. That one would have banned synthetic, highly concentrated kratom products, including 7-OH, while protecting the natural kratom industry. Meridian-based kratom company Happy Hippo supported that bill, but founder Kr8tom is strongly opposed to this new legislation, as he says kratom leaf helps with pain, anxiety, depression, and opioid dependence.
We have over a decade of customer testimonials, just so many people writing in saying it's changed their lives, it's saved their marriage. They're not bedridden anymore. They can get out of bed because of natural leaf kratom, play with their kids, be a father, be a husband. Former alcoholics have adopted it as a natural alternative. There's just so many use cases for kratom, and I wholeheartedly believe in this plant. And, I lose my business. That's too bad if this goes through, but other people lose their lives and they're going to be pushed to harder drugs in a black market. And, I feel for them.
House Bill 864 was proposed in the House State Affairs Committee yesterday. All legislators except one voted to print and introduce the bill. According to the legislative website, it now heads to the Health and Welfare Committee, but we will see if it moves forward.
All right. Well, I took issue when the cop talked about traffic accidents because
yes,
Dr. Kirsten Smith did a study with kratom and said it did not cause any issues.
That's
with driving.
right. Correct.
So I'd like to know, where is he getting his data from, and so how they know it was kratom.
Madeline, I sent you both text and Facebook Messenger, the Facebook article thingy that I was reading about the bull.
Okay.
From the Senator Bill Steph. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. I butcher everybody's names.
Let me go grab it.
Oh,
And Christopher is joining us.
Nice.
Hey, Christopher.
Welcome.
Hey, Chris.
Hello, how
Hi,
you doing
Chris.
today? Everybody all right?
Yeah.
Good to see you.
Back to the previous story, the OPMS thing. What's your thought on that? Do you think that is possible with all that much alcohol in that product? It was a fake.
It probably is, because they've been getting targeted with fake since the day one. But in general, like, I was looking into that. I mean, I'm not a shot maker, tincture maker, but from what I understand about herbal tinctures and our co-packer, who also does that in numerous other herbs and plants, like some of his tinctures, an actual tincture will have 15%, 20% alcohol in it. But with a shot, that may be different because they might want all the alcohol evaporated out of it, which is pretty sure the way it goes. They want the alcohol evaporated out of it down to below 1% or whatever it is. So I'm not really sure, but it's just like when you go to the store, you buy the real vanilla extract. That's got alcohol. Like, I don't know how that.
Well, see, that's just it. So in a way, I mean, that's a natural process. It's going to be in things. They're almost making it into this big thing, like they're selling a full-on alcohol product without saying that all these other products are already on the market using this method. So,
that's one of the oldest methods out.
Exactly. exactly. And sometimes you could vaguely taste it, sometimes you don't, but it's still a proper method. So that doesn't necessarily mean if it is their product that they've done something wrong. I'm always skeptical, and I always go in the middle on things until I know for sure. So it could be that they didn't intend to do anything wrong or sell a sneaky product. It was just part of the process. On the other hand, I would like more information.
Yeah, it has like when they do an alcohol evaporation out and making the tincture, they use the alcohol, then they'll evaporate the alcohol out, and then you have the shot or whatever with zero alcohol. I mean, is there sometimes things that happen where all the alcohol didn't get evaporated out? Sure, that's not on purpose, but I really doubt it. You know what I mean? It's just doesn't make any sense.
But they talked about, possibly filing prosecution, prosecuting and filing charges and to the stores that were selling it. I mean, because that is dangerous.
I just figure too that it's another way to dampen the Kratom name.
That's exactly what I was just going to say.
More afraid of Kratom, and that I just really believe that the pharmaceutical companies want the Kratom and all the alkaloids and the whole thing, the mint, the 7, the whole shebang, so that they can go on, take it from the public, so we can't care for ourselves, by ourselves, and then roll us all back in to needing to go to a doctor for any element that it provides or whatever they're going to do with it. I just really think that that's the direction.
Well, that's just like Georgia with the bill they're trying to do and have it behind a pharmacy counter.
Yeah, like a pharmacy.
What are you talking about?
What are you talking about? They have dropped out for the most part.
Okay, good.
Luckily.
But just even proposing that, I can understand behind the counter, over 21, proper testing, proper labeling. That's like common sense. But beyond that, what are you doing? Stop. This is, and I always say when I'm talking about Kratom, I mean the leaf, the tea, the powder, the leaf, whatever you want to call it. You know what I mean? Proper extracts, whatever it is. That's not been a problem in Southeast Asia. So, and it's never been a problem there. If it's a problem here, it's because it's either adulterated or it's something that it's not.
Or it's just made up and there's no problem at all. There's not really a problem.
I was just going to say that is the next thing. Or there's something else going on that has to do with money. And, we've seen that before. But unfortunately, you know what I mean? We may never know. Hopefully one day we'll know. But
goes back to leave us alone.
Yep.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Remember those shirts?
I do too.
Love that.
Well, we're glad that you're here with us, Christopher. It's been a while since you've joined us, and we're still watching a variety of news stories. Because Kratom is under attack right now. There's so many of these, but let me real quickly show.
And can I say real quick, the last gentleman that spoke on the clip you just shared, I'm not sure the overall context and what he was speaking. I don't see that people are using Kratom as an alcohol alternative. If anything, it would cease people from wanting alcohol at all.
Yeah.
Yes,
it doesn't give
exactly.
any feeling or anything like that as an alcohol replacement.
No.
So I don't know what is full.
With all the 80 plus Kratom Stories podcast episodes I've done interviewing people with just their personal story, I can't believe how many different times in these stories somebody I talked to used Kratom for whatever, drug addiction, pain, whatever. And they would say, I realize I don't ever want to drink anymore. I just have no desire to drink. And I'm like, I had already stopped drinking, because I was never a big drinker, but once in pain management, once I was using OxyContin, of all the different warning labels you get with your pain meds, the OxyContin one, when you take that, it's a big deal because you could really, it can really suppress your breathing. Because I still would drink alcohol from time to time, taking my narcotics, but OxyContin, I got really nervous with all the warnings. So I had already stopped for years. And when I switched to Kratom, so I wasn't already active. I mean, I even, wasn't drinking beer anymore, even socially. And so it didn't affect me, but it's interesting how people would say, like one gal used Kratom for her opiate addiction. And she said, in the course of our interview, she goes, you know what? I just realized I have a 6-pack of beer sitting in my fridge. It's been there for months now. I realize I don't even want it. She goes, I'm going to go pour it out. She goes, normally that wouldn't last very long in my fridge. But it just had dawned on her through our conversation. Like, I just realized I don't even crave alcohol. And it's just amazing to hear so many people say that with kratom, on top of the people that do use it specifically to curb alcohol drinking.
Yeah, it definitely curbs that desire and slows the noise down in the brain, and does all that.
Yeah, it's an amazing plant. Hey, Kathleen, good to see you in here with us. Sherry says she drinks pickle juice with hers. That's like supposed to be a really good potentiator, and I've tried pretty much every potentiator. I tried pickle juice a few times. It doesn't do anything for me, and it doesn't taste very good. But I wanted to see if it would potentiate kratom. Is Sherry, is that why you drink it, or you just like pickle juice with your kratom? I'm curious. And Angela says she agrees with Twinkle. I used it to stay off alcohol. I have a friend that hasn't drank in years because of kratom. That's amazing.
It just it's like if you were drinking. Oh, sorry. I was just gonna say if you stop drinking alcohol and switch to kratom, making tea every day or something like that, that normally lives to a healthier overall lifestyle. So you know what I mean? It makes people more just conscious of what they're putting in their body when they stop drinking or they stop doing something like that. They're like, oh, I feel so much better, and now I'm doing this, and it's great.
And I quit drinking 4 months before I started taking kratom regularly, and I hit a major flare. That was the reason why my husband went and got me the kratom. And see, my issue was that when I was in severe pain, and I didn't have any, care then either, I drank to relieve pain. So 4 months after I quit drinking on my own, got through those first few months perfectly fine, hit a flare, got the kratom, no desire ever to even think or want
That's what I used to do.
Alcohol. And that was always like my mini worry was quitting was not a problem. That was whatever. But the reason I drank it, which was to cope with pain, that was just my worry. Would that have ever nudged me back? But because I was now taking kratom, I really believe that kratom played a big part in that. Could I got hit a year later or 6 months later, another major flare, and said, let me just go ahead and do this? I don't know, but I haven't. And I believe that was because of kratom tea, not anything else, kratom tea. So
that's great.
Grateful for that. Yeah, grateful.
Let me show you this Facebook post that Amanda sent. So this is where I remember seeing it now, is on Facebook. So it's a site called In Kratom Addiction. Interesting, that Facebook page that can say the word kratom without getting deleted.
Isn't that interesting how they can get by with that?
It's always anti-kratom that's allowed to have.
I got a little Facebook jail for sharing the last live.
That's crazy. But look at what this says. This says, and for those watching on your phone, it might be a little small. I'll read it. The kratom industry keeps pushing myths. The truth is finally getting attention. As Senator Bill DeSteph pointed out, even he was shocked kratom is legal. Farmers have reportedly used kratom shots to sedate bulls before transport. Think about that. If something is strong enough to sedate a bull, why is it being sold in gas stations and marketed as harmless? Oh my God. It's time.
They would have had to be injecting hundreds and hundreds of grams.
But that's not.
7-0 doesn't even do that.
I don't even believe it.
It's BS. It's BS.
Not even the strongest extract out there does that.
Having grown up on a ranch, you don't inject anything in your animals that could affect the quality of the meat. Period.
Yeah.
And that isn't USDA approved.
What a fib.
Both those things.
What a fib.
Like, there's a lot of safety measures and everything between, the animal and our plate. So that's really hard to believe.
Well, Lois says it perfectly. OMG, sedate bulls? I call bull.
Yep, that good one. Yeah,
that's a real good one.
Exactly.
Yep.
Total BS. Oh my God, that's hilarious. Great way of putting it. Okay, did anyone know if the ETOH industry is behind controlling kratom? What's ETOH? Anybody know? Not sure what that's supposed to stand for.
I have no idea.
Let us know.
Oh, maybe the ethical.
on
Let me see. I don't know.
I'm not sure what that stands for.
Yeah. Oh, ethanol or ethyl alcohol, which is the intoxicant. If that's what they're talking about, maybe there's another one. ETOH. Why do people say? Well, this is saying it has to do with the alcohol. ETOH is primarily used in a scientific or medical setting. They're technically correct saying ETOH can feel like medical jargon.
Right back.
If that's what, because I'm not familiar otherwise. Ethanol addiction is coming up.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, me neither. Maybe somebody can fill us in because I'm not familiar.
Well, let's go ahead and get to our next video because again, I've got plenty of these. The next one's out of Kentucky, and all of these that we're watching are from this week. These are all new stories around the country.
Is marketed as a natural supplement for pain, anxiety, and opioid withdrawal, but more states are taking a product called 7-0 or synthetic kratom off store shelves.
No, companies say the product is safe, but lawmakers say it could be deadly. Lisa Rontola looking closer into this ongoing fight.
Yellow.
On the brink of Ohio's current synthetic kratom ban put in place in December of 2025.
We are at Century's Harvest Kratom.
Shop owner Jason Ingram invited us inside his store near Columbus to showcase what he sells.
Is 7-0 a drug?
Well, yeah.
Synthetic kratom, commonly known as 7-0 or 7-hydroxy. Lawmakers say its concentrated levels of hydromitragenine can get users hooked and create opioid-like addictions.
We've had a number of the people of Ohio actually overdosed and died.
From Ohio Governor Mike DeWine.
This is kratom, and this can addict you almost like an opioid can.
To Arizona's Attorney General Chris Mays. 7-0 is coming under fire state by state, with bans in 12 like Alabama, Arkansas, California, Florida, Indiana, and Kentucky. High potency bans in Arizona, Colorado, South Carolina, Texas, and West Virginia. And now that emergency ban in Ohio, stemming from executive order that gives the state pharmacy board 6 months to hold hearings to make 7-0 a controlled substance, illegal to take, possess, and sell.
How do you, as a store owner, guarantee you are selling a safe product?
Well, like I said, everything in my store I've taken.
What was your reaction when Governor DeWine said he wants to ban it all?
He don't know what he's talking about. Again, has he ever taken kratom?
Ingram tells me he opened his kratom shop 7 years ago to sell natural kratom, which he uses daily.
Why did you start evolving into synthetics?
The neat people wanting it, people coming in every day looking for it.
Ingram isn't the only one who believes there could be unintended consequences of banning 7-0. Dr. Jeff Singer, a senior fellow at the Cato Institute who studies public health policy, believes an outright ban will just push 7-0 underground.
They're actually going to give yet another product for the drug traffickers, the Mexican cartels, et cetera, to add to their line of products that they make available to American consumers.
And after we first visited Jason Ingram at Century's Harvest Kratom.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Whiston?
Yes.
The Ohio Pharmacy Board recommended the emergency ban on synthetic kratom, which was signed by the governor the same day.
He doesn't understand the people he's going to put out of work.
Ingram calls it government overreach, as the Pharmacy Board is working on proposing rules to keep 7-0 off store shelves and to make natural kratom illegal too.
He thinks this is just a small little thing, that, oh, it's It's not a small little thing. It's a billion-dollar industry.
On the federal level, the Food and Drug Administration is recommending that the Drug Enforcement Agency list synthetic kratom as a Schedule I substance, joining heroin, LSD, and ecstasy. The FDA made that recommendation 8 months ago. At this point, the DEA has yet to make any determination that would affect all 50 states. For Spotlight on America, I'm Lisa.
Okay, well, the thing I thought that was quite interesting is that shop owner says 7-OH is a drug. I've used everything that I sell in my store, and I'm selling this because this is what people want. I mean, that's a little irresponsible of like, let me call it a drug, but I'm going to sell this drug. Uh-oh, I don't hear
Reminds
you.
me of American Shaman.
And
The
we
comments
stopped
made by
using
him.
that whole excuse a long time ago that we've tried everything in the store. Like we, you know, that was when we started testing, was many years ago, and we phased that out.
I like how they're like, oh, it's going to be pushed by like the cartel and drugs and stuff. Some of them like being pushed by the cartel and drugs. Like, I mean, come on. Like, it's frustrating. It's frustrating, you know, because a lot of the 7-O users out there are holding their vendors and, you know, suppliers accountable to just lab testing with kratom, just the same thing, you know. Does it need to be in the gas stations? No. Does it need to have all these crazy names? No. But the cartel. But I mean, you do take something away and people are going to find a way to get it, you know, whether it be an extract or plain leaf. This has been an amazing tool for many. If you take it away from everybody, crime's going to go up, overdoses are going to go up. Like, so much stuff is going up. Like, what are they going to blame it on next? You know, oh, it's this. No, well, you just took it away. So why is everything going away? That all these, you know, law-abiding citizens now carrying a Schedule I plant around with them. I mean, it's just, yeah, I'm just baffled at some of the stuff they lump it into. Like, I remember Nashua was being locked in with nitrous oxide, and I'm just like, no comparison.
His response should have been, everything we sell is properly lab tested with verified lab results available. Everything we sell is age restricted, proper labeling. That should have been, as a responsible store owner, that should have been his response. How do I know it's safe? Because I have the lab tests.
Yeah.
And like Lois said in comments, goes back to, we have to educate people. Even store owners need to be educated as to how to speak on the products they sell.
But I find it concerning when the store owner says, yes, it's a drug. I sell it anyway. I mean, that to me just seemed really odd.
Yeah. It's like saying, yeah, Tylenol's a drug, but we still sell it.
Well,
No,
I'd like to know
Tylenol
how many would
not a
consider
drug.
alcohol a drug then, because I mean, alcohol literally inebriates people. So
Right.
is that a drug? But then you can, you know, you'll hear probably a bazillion people go, oh, it's not a drug. Really? Well, you're impaired. It kills people. And here we are, like, not
You ain't
impaired,
wrong,
using our
you're
leaf.
not
And it's
wrong.
like, okay, like, here we are, but like, let's keep fighting after a plant.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I got one more news story. It's out of Kansas. There were even more than this, but like, I knew we wouldn't have time to play all of them. But I just wanted to play a variety from all across the country.
The popular plant-based substance known as kratom is one step closer to being banned in Kansas. This after a state Senate vote this week. Jordan Tovar spoke with a doctor and a local kratom business to get their thoughts on the bill.
Shocked, I'm shocked and appalled that we're here now. And I don't, I'm just going to try to continue to help the people as best as I can.
Kratom was initially marketed to be a pain reliever and opioid withdrawal support, and that's what Lewis here says many of his customers were using it for. However, after the Senate vote on Thursday, he said many customers were calling him wondering what the next steps would be if the bill passes fully.
I've been getting calls all morning from people in a panic. They don't know what they're gonna do. They're calling me, looking for advice from me, trying to figure out what's going on.
Lewis only sells the natural plant-based form of kratom at his shop, Happy Tea House. He blamed the synthetic form, 7-OH, for the overdose trend and recent legislation.
Even though we all know what the corporate is with the 7-OH, but just to lump them all together, you know, that seems very, very irresponsible, should I say.
Howard Chang is an ER doctor with Ascension Via Christi in Wichita. He says he's seen people show up to the hospital with kratom overdoses.
So they were found unconscious or they had a seizure, and somebody attributes it to too much kratom use. Occasionally, I get a patient that shows up who has a history of kratom addiction.
Chang couldn't really give a definite opinion on the bill, currently saying that he would rather see more research done on kratom first.
I think it's a potentially dangerous drug out there that we just don't know enough about. So I always advocate for further research in this. You know, whatever it takes to make our patients, our community, our neighbors, our families safe is what I would advocate for.
In Wichita, Jordan Tovar, 12 News.
So there you go.
I love how they're like, I want to advocate for them to be safe. Okay, well then keep our plant, because taking it away is going to not be safe for thousands of people.
Right. Extreme makes a good point, though. How do you know your 7-OH vendors are not whipping up a batch using random chemicals in their bathtub? That's why I would be concerned if I were a 7 consumer.
Lab test, because your compliant vendor is testing their 7-0.
But those can be like, I've heard plenty of stories of just kratom vendors in general, like stealing from others and changing the name or whatever so that people think it's theirs, or they're just showing old, outdated ones on their site.
Well, I mean, I know you could, like with labs, and I mean, I still do it to this day. Like, it doesn't matter who I'm purchasing off of. If I'm questioning something, I'm going to call that lab. You should be able to call and say, hey, this is, you know, batch number this for test number this, or, you know, go down, and that lab can confirm it or deny, and they can sit there and say, yes, like that was, it's safe. You know, it's safe. It meets all guidelines that it is safe for consumption, or whatever they're, you know, whatever word they're going to use, you know, it meets all qualifications and passes labs. If you see the word fail on a lab, then, I mean, are you going to take the product? No, like that, you know, but there are vendors out there that aren't, you know, providing these Smurfs and Roxy's, and there are vendors out there that are doing it just like they are doing with the kratom, you know, proper packing, proper lab testing, proper labeling, you know, warnings, everything, you know, it says, you know, it says do not exceed, you know, and much, and, you know, however much. So there are proper precautions being taken out there. And I get it. Like whether people agree with 7-0 or not, you know, I'm not here to argue that, but the ones I personally go to and the ones that I will go to will have no problem showing your most recent lab. And with as much as 7-0 is coming out and batches are changing, those labs are always going to be very new. Like I don't find anybody going off of a lab that they had a year ago from 7-0 and saying, oh, hey, like, you know, I've had this product in stock for a year. Like, no, like, unless you've got it just on your own, like me, like if I have something in my own stash, but no, like everything I'm buying, you can buy it lab tested, you know. You walk into a smoke shop and I've never been able to say, hey, do you have the labs for the products that you have right now? They're like, oh, well, no, but you know, this is for this. And it's like, okay, well, if you don't even have the labs for these products, or or they do, but it's like a year or two old, I would not take the product myself. You know, like a lot can go on from opening a product, closing a product in a year.
Yeah, for sure. So those are
Lewis, the guy that owned that tea house. I was really impressed with him saying he has people calling him, asking him, what are the next steps? What do we do? That's a responsible shop owner saying, you know, we have to advocate. I was really impressed with him.
Oh, Christopher left for a sec. Okay. I got another interesting video to play for y'all. Those are all the news stories one of, let me cue this up a second. Give me one sec. It's a lot of moving parts doing this and grabbing all the things, but it's a great TikTok video I was watching from Dan at Mitrospec. Mitrospec creates lots of really great advocacy videos to keep people in education advocacy type videos, which I love. I love these types of videos. And he put out a really interesting one the other day that I thought would be really great to play on. And it's not short. It's 6 minutes long, but it's really good. I want to play it for y'all because I think it's worth watching. And I think you'll find it super interesting. If you want me to stop at any point during it, just say something and I'll pause. But watch this because I find this really interesting.
We're not targeting the kratom leaf or ground up kratom. That is what HHS Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. said on July 29th, 2025. Secretary Kennedy, I hope you're listening because the states weren't. On July 29th, you stood at a podium with the FDA commissioner and you said something that millions of Americans had been waiting years to hear. You said, we're not targeting the kratom leaf or ground up kratom. The commissioner said, we're going after the killer first, which is the synthetic concentrated kratom. For the first time, the federal government publicly acknowledged what the kratom community has been saying for years. Natural kratom leaf and concentrated 7-OH products are not the same thing. They have different potencies, different risk profiles, and they deserve different regulatory approaches. Both deserve regulation, but they don't deserve the same regulation, and they don't deserve to be lumped in together and banned as if they're identical. You drew that line, and we were grateful, but that line is being erased. Since your announcement, Louisiana banned all kratom, natural leaf included, effective August 1st, 2025, possession carries up to 6 months in jail. Distribution carries up to 5 years. An estimated 325,000 people lost legal access overnight. Connecticut classified all kratom as Schedule 1 on February 25th, 2026. More than 250,000 residents that relied on kratom, many of them to stay off opioids, are now criminals for possessing a leaf. California's Department of Public Health has seized more than $5 million worth of kratom products. Not just 7-OH, all kratom from retail shelves statewide. Governor Newsom announced 95% enforcement compliance on March 3rd. California has almost 40 million people. And right now, there are active bills to ban all kratom in Iowa, Tennessee, Georgia, Kansas, Wyoming, West Virginia, Massachusetts, and Illinois. Not to distinguish between products, not to create smarter regulations, to ban everything, the same leaf you said you weren't targeting. What's happening in Tennessee shows exactly how this goes wrong. Bill, called Matthew Davenport's Law, just advanced 8-0 out of subcommittee. Matthew is 27. He died from an interaction between kratom and his prescribed medications. His mother, Karen, is leading the push for a statewide ban. Her grief is real. Her loss is unimaginable. But nobody's asking the question that matters. What product did her son actually take? Natural leaf or a concentrated product? Because those are two fundamentally different things, and the bills being written in his name ban both without distinction. The confusion between concentrated products and natural leaf is what's driving bad policy in state after state, and the people paying the price are millions of natural kratom consumers who have never touched a concentrated product in their lives. When you ban all kratom, the people who depend on it have two options. They go back to the street, back to opioids, fentanyl, heroin, the substances that kill hundreds of thousands, or they go to the pharmaceutical system, drugs like Suboxone and Sublocade, which can cause tissue death at the injection site, respiratory depression, hepatitis, and carries a warning for serious harm or death if administered intravenously. Street drugs or pharmaceuticals, that's it, unless we protect the third option. Natural kratom leaf is the third option for millions of Americans, the bridge, the thing they use instead of going back to pills or needles, the thing that lets them manage discomfort, hold down a job, and show up for their families. We believe both natural leaf and 7-OH products should be regulated. Stricter regulations for concentrated products, tighter age restrictions, no candy-style packaging, real labeling, no gas station sales. Consumer protection laws for natural leaf, the way 17 states have already done, covering 128 million Americans. Regulation, not prohibition, for either one. And here's what should concern everyone on every side of this argument. 7-OH regulations tighten. The people using those products are going to need somewhere to go. If natural kratom is also banned, their only option is street drugs or pharmaceuticals. But if natural leaf is legal, regulated, and available, those people have a path, a step down, a way to transition without falling off a cliff. Taking natural kratom off the table doesn't just hurt current consumers. It eliminates a future lifeline for people who don't even know that they're going to need it yet. Secretary Kennedy, you referenced your own history with addiction at that press conference. You understand what it means when someone finds something that helps them function, helps them avoid the substances that will destroy them. For millions of Americans, that thing is natural kratom leaf, and they are losing access to it state by state while your administration explicitly said you're not targeting the leaf. So here's what I'm asking. I'm not asking you to endorse kratom. I'm not asking you to override state legislatures. I'm asking you to educate the way you said you would. Issue a clear, direct statement to every state legislature, every state health agency, and every governor in this country saying what you already said on July 29th. Natural kratom leaf and concentrated 7-OH products are not the same thing. Federal actions are focused on the concentrated products. States that ban natural leaf alongside those products are going beyond what the science supports. That's all we need, because right now, state legislators are using your administration's actions against 7-OH as justification to ban everything without making the distinction that you made. Your words are being weaponized against the very people you said you weren't targeting. And to the mothers, to Karen Davenport, and every parent fighting for legislative action, the kratom community is not your enemy. We want age restrictions. We want lab testing. We want proper labeling. We want GMP-compliant manufacturing. We want the same accountability you want. We just need the question asked that isn't being asked. Was it natural leaf or was it a concentrated product? Because the laws being written in your children's names ban everything, and that is going to hurt the millions of people who use natural kratom to keep themselves away from something far worse. Secretary Kennedy, the window is closing. Every state that bans all kratom creates a new criminal or a new customer for the pharmaceutical industry. For the first time in history, we have a federal leadership that understands natural kratom leaf and concentrated products require different approaches. Don't let that understanding die at the federal level while state after state gets it wrong. Speak to them, please, before it's too late.
That was a great video.
That was amazing.
They've been doing more videos like that on their TikTok, but they're putting on all their social media. But I usually just see those pop up on my TikTok. Really good.
Fantastic. I mean, he hit the nail right on the head. Like, they're going to need something. They're going to need something. You can't, oh, well, there's pharmaceuticals or, there's that. Then there's, folks like myself, pharmaceutical resistant. That doesn't work. Okay, so what do I do when I have nothing else?
They're going to go to the streets. Just like before I found kratom. One of the reasons why I advocate and educate so loudly, when I lost pain management through no fault of my own, I didn't have to deal with pill counts. I had a great doctor that trusted me because I never did anything to show that I couldn't be trusted. He told me I was an ideal patient. I still worked. I did all the things. He told me multiple times, I wish all my patients were like you. But when we lose access and nobody else will take over, what do they expect us to do? I was seriously looking for a drug dealer. What am I supposed to do with debilitating chronic pain? I don't look like I suffer from debilitating chronic pain. That's because of natural kratom that I consume.
Mm-hmm.
It's all because of
that's
that.
exactly what I say. Because with my doctor, I can't prescribe you enough medication to treat even half of what you deal with for pain. Like, there's nothing that I can do to help you, but it's pain management for the rest of your life. Like, if this is what's working for you, fantastic. I wouldn't be sitting here right now. I wouldn't be able to go to a concert or my son's graduation if I didn't have kratom. I couldn't. I'd be back in bed, and I mean, that was a miserable life. So I'm sitting here, I'm a little terrified of all these ban hearings, but I'm really trying to just keep my positive thinking and going, well, I'm going to find my kratom one way or another, I'm going to make sure that I have kratom one way or another, because I will not go back to the lifestyle that I was forced to live, bedbound, stuck on, umpteen million pills, and not having a quality of life. Like I have quality of life right now. I'm in pain constantly, but I have quality of life now because of the plan.
Nobody should have to go back to that.
Agreed.
And that's why we have to educate.
Absolutely.
Not just ourselves, but all the consumers, all the shops, all the vendors, all the legislators. They have to know that what we're consuming is not dangerous. It's not a bad thing. It's safe. and it's sure safer than any alternative out there.
Mm-hmm.
And there are millions of us. And it's time those millions start speaking up.
I don't know how anybody can say kratom powder, natural kratom, is harmful. I mean, I'm like offended when people talk about that and say this, because it is not harmful to me. What was more harmful were the pharmaceuticals I used to take for my chronic pain.
Well, I mean, in a sense, anything can be harmful. If you drink too much water, it's harmful. So kratom, I guess, can be harmful, just as too much water or too much exercise or too much sweets can all be harmful. But for, again, there then becomes the accountability, and it's like,
and the responsibility not
exactly
to exceed over a certain amount, even if you might go higher than somebody else does, or vice versa. If you're going in the extreme, with anything, I mean, everything in moderation, including moderation.
Absolutely.
That's what we should be. But
I mean, we've all seen it in this community. We've all seen it. Someone coming in first really getting into kratom and going, oh, I have a high tolerance. That's their first go-to. I have a high tolerance. Well, not with this, you don't. Not with this, you don't, because this is so different. This isn't a medication. More. You're not going to get impaired. It's, it's, you're comparing apples to oranges. Less is always more with this, and I mean, my dose personally is 7.5 grams. That's what works for me. But I mean, some days I could take it in the morning and that's all I need. And then I don't even dose for the rest of the day until the next morning. Today I've been up and going, and the weather's been like, cold, really warm, like in the 70s, and then back to cold and snow. So my body's very angry. So, I mean, I've already dosed twice today and I've been up since 9 a.m., but it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon. That's not bad. That's not bad. That's still like, I mean, I've had to dose more times than I've, than not on some days. And then some days it's just, kratom, just, chill, one dose and ready to go. I wish they would sit there and go, oh, where's the science? There's not enough science. Well, you've got billions of people who are consumers. Come talk to us. You know how many of us would be thrilled to give our story here? Use me for science. Go right the heck ahead, because this is my results. Here's this, here's my lab test. If this is so bad for me, like, why is my blood work improving? First I was going every 6 months with everything I was dealing with and getting organ scans as well. Now I'm spacing, blood work once a year, or I'm spacing out the scans on my organs now, where it used to be every 6 months to once a year. Now it's every 3 years, so it's like, tell me again how this is so bad for me. But the pharmaceuticals that I was on was just, killing me, literally killing me.
That's a great point.
Well, there are so many other benefits to kratom that we have not yet unlocked. So stop trying to take it away from us. Stop trying to monetize it. Leave us alone and allow us to consume kratom, and use all of us to study, because guess what? There are thousands of scientific studies out there. You got to actually accept the experts' testimonies, because how many times have we heard that there was a hearing and they said so-and-so wasn't good enough to speak? Come on.
Yeah, they need to have more than one-sided conversations. That's all I know, because it just seems like it's always one-sided. Either the kratom community or the kratom advocates are, there's no harm according to them, and not many people say there could be harm in anything if it's abused, overused, whatever it is. And then on the other side of it, you have the people, oh, it's doing all this and that, when they're not listening to, here's the studies we have, here's the science we have in front of us. Here's what may have happened. Here's, just any kind of logical conversation. Like, we've been trying to have that conversation over the years with different people, and it doesn't seem like people don't want to have that conversation, like just an open conversation. I'm talking like the anti-kratom side. They don't want to have it like an open conversation and just here we are, nobody's saying this or that. And, it's really helping people. Look, this is the real truth. This is what's going on. How can you dismiss that?
Well, they do. They dismiss us pain patients.
Yeah. And everybody wants to point fingers. Yeah, everybody wants to point fingers.
Well, you wouldn't want to stack kratom on top of other pharmaceuticals or illicits.
No.
And in fact, kratom, if you're going to take kratom at the same time as even if somebody is taking an opioid, an actual pharmaceutical opioid, shouldn't do that either, because what you're doing is you're wasting your opioid because it's a partial agonist and antagonist. It's not going to help them better. It's going to block the other opioid. It's very similar in a way, other than 100% natural, to Suboxone, in the way that Suboxone works with the naloxone being the blocker in that. You wouldn't want to do that. And I know a few people that do take, I mean, not personally, but through the internet, that have taken kratom with their opioids and refuse to believe that the kratom with the medicine, with the opioid, they think it's helping them better. But in the other hand, they're saying they're taking the kratom because their opioid isn't helping enough, therefore they need more pain relief. But what they're actually doing is blocking and canceling out the original medication. So then you're in that situation where now you're either taking more kratom or you're sneaking an extra dose of your opioid because you're in that much pain, but it's not doing any good. So
it seems to affect people differently, though, because I've talked to quite a few people in the pain community that tell me they're able to take kratom and their pain meds without issue. And I've looked into this a bit more and done a little more research. It seems like just how we're all different with pharmaceuticals. We're all different when it comes to kratom. It very could well be that some people, yes, if you take both together or close to each other, they cancel each other out. But for other people, they can take them close together or with each other, and it doesn't cancel them out. We've always been told, or at least I was told when I started 7 years ago, don't ever take them together or close together. They cancel each other out. As a matter of fact, wait until you're withdrawals before you start kratom. I mean, I've heard all that stuff. My personal experience is I was able to wait. If I wait I would wait at least 4 hours, sometimes more.
Like a medication bottle would say.
And that's when I was new, that's what I
or
did.
the assist. But if it's at the exact same time, we don't know enough though either that if somebody's putting it right on top of it, and maybe that's where their adverse reaction is happening with the loss of life that they're claiming is going on. We would always just want to be safe from not.
Well, I mean, we only tell our own personal experience. Like I would never tell anybody do exactly what I did or take them both together because I don't know. What I can say is my personal experience is when I started, it took me a while to figure out the right color, the right dose, the right everything. So I live with very debilitating chronic pain. I can't be without something. So what worked for me was during that experimental trial and error phase is I would do kratom during the day and then do my pharmaceuticals at night. And I had no issues at all.
See,
but
in a situation like that, it seems like it wouldn't have an issue. But I mean, if it was right.
Yeah. But once I was 100% kratom within a few weeks, once I figured it all out, I'm like, okay, now I'm going to just try taking it the whole day and the whole night and see how I do. And slowly it was like, okay, this, now that I figured out that green is the only one that works on me, and I figured out a good dose that works for my pain, I'm like, okay, let me just, keep experimenting. And what I noticed over time, and a few people told me this, as those pharmaceuticals especially as opiates get completely out of your system, which can take several months, that kratom will start working better and better and better. And that's what I saw. And I still have my journal sitting right here on my desk from 7 years ago.
That's the experience I had.
I saw that months late, because when I first started, I was having to take my kratom like initially every 3 to 4 hours. And then once I figured out the right dose and the green, I was consistently I would take it about 5 times a day, I think it was. And then slowly over time, I was able to go a little bit longer in between, but it was as months of the pharmaceuticals. And I mean, this is narcotics. This is gabapentin, very high doses gabapentin, and high doses of muscle relaxers.
That's how I was when I was coming off mine. Yeah. When I came off the 30 years of pharmaceuticals, it's okay. When I came off the 30 years of pharmaceuticals and had switched to kratom, I had stopped taking, my pain meds. I think it was 2 days before, just because I wanted to really give, an open mind to it. Cause I've always said, people take, if you're going to, take that with kratom, do it 4 to 6 hours like you would your medication. So I was like, well, I'm going to give it a day or two. So I completely need to take no pain meds and then went to the kratom. But, there is like the post-acute withdrawal syndrome from a lot of different medications. I had it from my pain medication, like a very little bit. But then like when I stopped taking my depression medicine, it was the Zoloft that I was on. Oh, man. And at that point, that was one of the last ones I was tapering myself off of, was that, and then my blood pressure medication. But that Zoloft was rough. Like, I mean, that was the worst withdrawals I've ever experienced in my life. And I'm not talking like throwing up sick. Like I had like brain zaps going
That's
on.
what
And
Cymbalta did to me.
it was really, really bad.
Years.
Yeah. And I was dosing more frequently, when I first started the kratom, but now it's like, I sometimes 1 dose a day, sometimes 4 times a day, it depends on my pain level, but I dose a lot less than I would if I was taking medication on a constant basis, because I was taking my pain med and then an ibuprofen and then a couple hours later a Tylenol, because I was chasing staying above the pain. I don't have to do that with kratom. I'm not chasing staying above the pain unless I'm, say I was out and I just didn't have a dose on me. And it's like, it started, my dose started wearing off and my normal pain came back. But still, even trying to chase whatever pain I'm in now compared to when I was on pills, I honestly felt worse pain-wise from being on the medication versus not. And I was really surprised. I was like, wow, I felt worse on the medication than it was actually helping me.
And
all pain medication ever did. Go ahead, Twinkle.
Thank you. I used to think it was just a personal experience with believing that the tea would like cancel out the other medicine. But even ChatGPT now says that's true, and they didn't even have ChatGPT then. So something out there is also saying that is also true. So I don't know. Like I wouldn't never be able to know for everybody because we are all different. But it seems like it coincides that at least for me that is more true than not.
And for me, all pain medication ever did was I didn't care that I was in pain. I was still in pain. I just didn't care.
But you just didn't care. Yep. I understand.
So kratom actually stops my pain, which is what I need and what I want and what I was looking for all this time.
And that's what's amazing about kratom. It contains over 50 alkaloids, and they're all doing something a little different to make the plant work the way it does in such a complex manner. And that's why, it works on those different systems, and it's just such a balanced, I always say God got it right. You know what I mean? It's such
God
a
did
balanced
get
plant,
it right, and
so.
now the government wants it. I mean, that's why they want it, because God is put it here for us. And so they want to take it away. I mean, I think
we started off with plants,
different medications with it. They want to, they're already in the labs. The deeper dive I go in trying to learn, they're already in the labs for years and years with the thought process to create pharmaceuticals from it.
Yeah.
Pluck all those alkaloids, combine some of them, maybe have 5 or something in one item and 10 in another, a full spectrum, the whole thing. I mean, they just want it. To me, they want it. But
yeah, the mint is being heavily, studied right now to turn into a pharmaceutical. Like,
I think it always has.
That's why in my heart, I believe this is why all these bans are going on, and they're trying to say it's bad, and oh, look at it's bad, and then boop, oh, we have, we've got, next, and they're probably going to call it some miracle. Well, I mean, it is a miracle. Look at all of us, how well we're doing, and they want it, but they want to control it.
Yeah. So all the propaganda that's telling the masses, everyone, that it's so bad and it's doing all these things that are bad, nothing but bad, is because they actually want it. Because it's not that bad. If they already know that, with their research, that it's safe, and if it could roll out as items under the government control, then what they're telling everybody is just not true.
Yep. And then they're going to be controlling what our dose is. Like,
yes.
Not, where we all know each person's dosing is different. What works for me may not work for someone else. That's why, I'm not recommending someone to start off with 7.5 grams, because that's what works for me. But like, literally, I tell people start off with 1/4 of a teaspoon and start. But you're right, Venus. It's or Twinkle. Like, it's just. Yeah, it's so frustrating.
It just makes you wonder. I mean, just constant wonder, like, what is going on? If they know it's safe and they're doing all this in the labs and researching it, but they're telling everybody else it isn't, it's because there's hidden agendas.
Oh, yeah, there's hidden agendas. And then, all the people that are like, oh, just use a pharmaceutical, they're going to be like, oh, well, they're saying it's safe now. So it's safe now. Okay, but, where were the rest of us, label us a tinfoil hat or conspiracy, like whatever you want to say. Like, we're here, we're the proof, we are the science. Like, there's billions of us that consume regular plain leaf kratom. There's a lot of there's a lot of us. I mean, there was over 500 billion doses or 1,000 doses, million doses, whatever it was, of 7.0 sold. And so that right there, that's a lot, so it's like, okay, here's the science. Like, we are the science. Wake up and see what's right in front of your face. Stop believing everything you read or hear. Look at the big picture of what's really going on, and let's all step together here and fight for this whole plant and all of its alkaloids, because that's what we need to do if we don't want it in big pharma's hands. And that's what my whole heart believes right now.
Well, doesn't Schedule 1 mean you can't research it, which would stop all funding for research?
You can have minute amounts of research, but it costs you a fortune, and you have to be on an approved list.
And
I remember reading that article that came out not too long ago that McCurdy had applied for a Schedule 1, Schedule 1 study, studying license or whatever it is, long before 7.0 was even talked about becoming a Schedule 1. So there's they're to study it, but I guess
well, like Dan was saying in the video, which was an amazing video that he did. They stood up there at that conference, at that presentation, and said they were not going after. And I know I sounded a little negative back then. I was still like, yes, they are. There's something up. Everybody's like, be positive. And I just felt it inside me that they were not going to just leave it alone. Why wouldn't they honor that then? Why would that change then if that was the truth? And it just never. It's disappointing and disheartening.
Yeah.
That they're still doing it everywhere.
Right. Well, I got one last video to play. One of my TikToks I did this week. I get so many great responses and questions, and my TikTok is very active, and I love doing video replies because it just keeps these conversations going. And for anybody that's curious what my stance is about 7-OH, I don't consume it, but I think it needs regulations. I don't think it should be banned because I don't believe in prohibition. Prohibition does not work. We all know this. So let me play this video because it makes it very clear my stance, and it sparked a really interesting conversation in the comments over on my TikTok. So let's watch this. All right, let's have this discussion. I have a question. Why are some people against the 7-OH? I've heard it helps with pain. Okay, this is a topic that has been very heated around the community and up for debate all the time. You got people who use 7-OH for their pain relief and get amazing, great relief from it. They're using it responsibly. Then you got people like myself that use natural kratom. I have no need for 7-OH because why would I? Natural kratom works great for me. But here's the thing. I'm not going to demonize anybody that uses 7-OH in that it helps them with their responsible use of it. Yes, there are people who are having issues with 7-OH because they're abusing it. They're overusing it. They're using it to get high. They're taking massive amounts of it. And they're also being misled wherever they got it. A lot of people have been misled. People are going to smoke shops and being told, oh, it's a new kratom, or this is a stronger kratom, or hey, I got these free samples, try this. And that's wrong. That's wrong. They should not be giving this out as samples. They should be educating. The people behind the counter should be getting educated on this so they can educate the consumer. But a lot of people are being misled. So yes, there are people having serious addictions issues with it. My inbox has been swarmed with people in the last year and a half or so of people that see my videos, and they come in there into the DMs and tell me their story about how they got into this cycle and they can't stop. And it's a real shame. But there's another side to, hold on for a second. This is so much like the whole pharmaceutical thing with our pain meds, right? You got most of us that use our pain meds responsibly. We're not overusing them. We're getting our pain relief so we can go on with our lives, right? And then you have this subset of people who are abusing them. And who gets caught in the middle of that? Those of us who use it responsibly. That's why I lost access to my pain management, because of the irresponsible use, and the government clamped down on it, and then doctors are too scared to prescribe. So with Kratom, works great. Amazing for me. 7-OH is helping a lot of other people in the pain community. They're having great success with their pain relief. A lot of them got dropped from their pain management and are saying the natural kratom is not really helping them, but they're finding relief with 7-OH. For me, my stance is we're all adults. If you can be responsible with it, who am I to tell you no? I don't believe in prohibition. I believe there should be regulations. I think the 7-O industry needs to clean itself up, because some of these manufacturers are creating terrible products and they just keep upping the amount. There's some products out there that are crazy strong, and that should not be allowed to happen. But those that are using it responsibly, I'm not going to demonize them. And so there are kratom advocates and a specific lobbyist who really don't like me saying that. But you know what? We all have the right to our own opinions and our own thoughts. And so I think it's okay for those that are getting relief with 7-OH that are using it responsibly. So that's my stance on this. Y'all share your thoughts and let's have a conversation. All right.
I love that. Yeah.
Well, I just speak from the heart, and I just share my personal experience and I'm not telling anybody what to do. I'm just, this is how I feel. And we should look, at least we still live in a country that's free, where we can talk about whatever we want, or at least should be able to. And that's just my feeling. And I wish more people would speak out about how they're using kratom, how it's helping them, their thoughts on this whole thing. But yeah, I'm curious to hear what you all think.
I mean, I'm grateful. I'm grateful that you have this platform. I'm grateful that it's a no judgment zone here. Whether you consume 7-O or not, to me, it doesn't matter. Like, I don't care if you consume it or not. Like, and I appreciate those who aren't, just no longer friends with me because, I advocate for the whole plant, for all of its alkaloids, or because I choose to use 7-O, and it's like this, it's education. This here is all my experience. I'm not a doctor. I'm not telling anybody, yes, this is going to work for you, because I can't tell you, I'm not you, This has been a wonderful platform, I think, for many of us to come here without judgment and be able to express ourselves, educate ourselves and others, and just be able to freely talk, because we don't get that. We can't do it on Facebook anymore, and it's, I'm appreciative. I love this. So thank you, Madeline. I love you to pieces for having this. Just this platform really gives a lot of people. And I mean, I share it with my friends and family. None of them take kratom, but they all watch it. They come and support. They see what it's done for my life, and I love that they share it with people just to say, hey, like this, this helps my friend. Watch this, watch this podcast. You'll get a lot of good information. And they get a lot of good information from here,
That's good to hear. I appreciate that. I mean, everything I do is always judgment-free zone. That's how all communities I've ever built over the last 30 years. I just don't believe in making people feel bad for any of their life choices, no matter what they are, that we can all get along and listen to each other without arguing and yelling and making people feel bad. And it's just us coming together as just everyday kratom consumers, not people in the industry. You know, it's just
I
having a
love the
conversation
fact.
with each other.
I love the fact that there is no condescension. There is no judgment, as Amanda said. People are free to express their opinions, express their thoughts, express what they feel, whether somebody else agrees with it or not. And we need a lot more of this out there. We need a lot more people engaged, but we need a lot more people just saying, you know what, let's stop the infighting, stop the nonsense, stop the, I'm going to say it, bullshit. Let's work together because we all have the same common goal, and that is to keep kratom legal. We as BAE do not speak on 7-OH because it is not part of the natural botanical that we support. It doesn't mean I'm going to judge someone because they do support it. It's not my place. As you said, Madeline, prohibition does not work. Judging does not work. Excluding people because of their thoughts, feelings, and opinions does not work. We have to be kinder and more appreciative of the people that are fighting and start getting along. Just, if you can be anything, be kind, because it doesn't take anything away from you to be so.
No. Yep.
And we truly are stronger together because we either stand together or we fall apart.
Yep.
So thank you for all that you do for the community, for allowing people to have a voice.
Yep. And included.
Without judgment.
Inclusion matters.
Yes.
I mean,
it sure does. Absolutely.
These are adult-oriented products. Why would you judge somebody for we're all using these, one or the other or both, for our health reasons, for chronic pain, intractable pain, all these other health reasons, depression, anxiety, and all this. So why would we judge someone for using something different? You know? So,
Absolutely.
I won't be one of those people. I'm not going to do that. Considering there's many items out there that I don't use at all, and I'm not, you know, I just choose not to, but other people find relief. Why would I want to take that from them because I don't like something? So grateful for you.
You don't have to feel like you have to go around the room and do this. Oh my God. I just feel that everybody, you know, should be heard with their viewpoint on this without bullying, being respectful. You know, I'm not getting into all of that here because we're having such a great vibe and great energy in our discussion here every week, like we always do.
Well, and from where we started this morning, when we were all trying to get on here and get going, we definitely came alive, didn't we?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Madeline, looks like you got a question in the chat.
Which question is that?
What's up with Mac? Looks like that came from Mac. So I don't know if that's really him or not. So I don't know what.
We're not getting into that here.
We're not. There's nothing like for me to have anything what's up with him. So I don't think any of us really did.
No, you know, that could have been easily dealt with, and you know, I'm not going there. This is not a discussion with a lobbyist to be involved with our just the type of discussion we have here. But all good. But we
And my
appreciate
comment about I gotta get going anyway, but my comment about 7OH and all the other things out there, I just follow the science. I follow the science with my company. I follow the science with what we sell, what I put in my body. So that's what I'm going to keep doing. And I'm just going to keep following the science, and I'm going to keep doing things in the way I believe is the right way. And, that's that. So,
and it's appreciated.
And,
I love your
and
company.
thank you for that, Chris.
We truly provide. We want education. We want transparency. We want people to know when they come to our store, they're buying stuff that's going to be okay and it's tested and it's
and
done
you're
the right way. And
for that.
That's it. You know what I mean? I don't really get into too many other discussions. Even like people asking, we've had calls about MGM products and these other products, and I'm just like, we don't deal with any of that. Sorry, you know what I mean? I just end that discussion. I don't even get into it, and that's it. Yeah. You know what I mean? And
it's so wonderful to see a vendor stand on their statement that this is what they do, this is all they do, and you stand behind it. And that takes a lot of courage, and I applaud you for it. Thank you.
I appreciate it. It takes a lot of work and a lot of time and a lot of money and energy and everything. And
especially considering the health challenges we've gone through.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's been rough, a couple surgeries this year, and it is what it is with everything. We try to follow the law, try to follow the politics. There's always something going on in the background we don't know about, and that's that. You know what I mean? I'm not going to guess, say, judge anything. It's just time will tell, and I don't know where any of it's going to go, and I'm just trying to stay in my lane and do what I got to do for, I'm a whole plant type of guy, and that's what I believe in. And even through other plant medicine, I like using whole plant. I just feel, for me personally, it works so much better having all the alkaloids working together the way they're supposed to in my body. That's all. And, that's just the way I feel about it. That's the way I like it. So.
Well, you're a one of a kind, Christopher.
Yeah. I know I'm extremely blessed. I'm among the blessed that pure natural leaf kratom works for me. And I will never take that for granted or downplay that I am blessed that it does work for me, because I know so many others that it's not enough.
Me too. We found a lot of people that
continues to work for me. Because if it doesn't, I may be one that changes my mind.
Well, same here. I mean, that's the thing. And that's our own adult choices.
I'm
not going to sit here and suffer in pain. I'm not. I am grateful that I'm 2 weeks away from my 7-year kratom anniversary. I've used it every single day, multiple times a day since I started in March 2019. And I mean, yeah, it's always in the back of my mind, what if it stops working? I'm definitely afraid of that. But if it does, it is my choice what to do next. Go get a drug dealer, try to get back in pain management, which didn't work before, or see if 7.0 complements that. But that's my choice.
Yeah.
I'm not sitting here pushing anything on anybody. It's just open conversation on all of y'all's experiences with it, without judgment, without bullying, without being yelled at, and all the things. So
yeah, let's go back to basics. Prohibition does not work. Did we learn nothing in the 1920s? Now we're in the 2020s going through the same thing. Those that failed to learn from their history are doomed to repeat it. And this is not a repeat I want to live through.
Thank you, Catherine.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it is what it is. We have, beyond everything else that's going on with people that are in pain can't get what they need. And that's a whole nother discussion. But that's something that needs to be worked on in the law. And just looking at it from my point of view, a vendor point of view, we have the set of laws and the CSA, Controlled Substances Act, and the way those schedules go and this and that. And if something isn't changed there, then a lot of these other things aren't going to work the way people want them to work, so to speak. But the way the current laws sit, I feel like they would have to create a whole nother framework for some of these other products. And that could be a framework of pharmaceuticals. I don't know. You know what I mean? But I don't know which way it's going to go. You know, I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a politician. I have no idea. You know, I just feel like if they don't, you know, they don't do something with the education, we're going to have a worse problem than we do. We have all these bans all over the place. People don't know the difference between all these products. And now they have all this other stuff coming out. Like people go to, like I was talking, we went to the smoke shop, you check out some of the bottles, you can't even see. It says may contain pseudoindoxil or 7-hydroxy, you know, people don't even know what they're taking.
When there is a legislator that sits on a dais and says, I have more questions now than I did when we started this hearing, that's shame on all of us, every single kratom consumer out there, because no legislator should be left with any questions unanswered.
I have like a 4-page Word document with my testimony, basically, and all the science and details, and you know the 8-factor analysis from mitragynine that was done 6 years ago, and already proves that that's not a problem. You know, all these, just the dose finding study, everything that's showing the positive point of kratom, and it goes back to what you said about the FDA. The FDA needs to update that website. They need to go on there, update the website, and say, this is what we know so far. This is what we still need to know. And this is where we're at. That's all. You know what I mean? Nobody's going to make any claims and say, hey, everybody go buy kratom. You know, that's not what anybody's saying. Just there's got to be something in there that breaks it down to say, this is where we're at. This is what we know. This is where we're heading. And you can go to clinicaltrials.gov and check all the trials out and see what's coming up and what's going on. And they're going to be doing stuff on the extracts. They're going to be doing stuff on 708. They're going to be doing stuff on all of it. Trust me. And there's details and science will come out. You know what I mean? But that's kind of where I sit, you know, with the science, follow the science. And that's, you know, I don't want to cause my customers any problems. So as a vendor, that's where I come out, is follow the science. And that's what I do. And that's why I just try to follow all the clinical trials and, you know, what we're doing, where we're going. And, you know, and for me personally, I have a lot of health conditions. I don't want to put anything in my body I'm not 100% sure about. So yeah, I don't want to have a problem. But I got to head out and go for my walk for my legs here. And we can redo my leg walking here.
Is that your alarm going off?
Yeah, basically. I got to get going.
A reminder. Yeah. Well, thank you for hanging. We're closing up anyway, but thank you for hanging out with us. We haven't had you on in a while.
Yeah, I'll have to hop on more often. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate the community, and we're all here fighting. So, well,
appreciate all the education and advocacy you do as a vendor, and I wish more. You know,
you're very welcome.
Taunton Bay, I mean, y'all are good with that. Becca, Happy Hippo's been doing a lot of that. Super Speciosa, I mean, and Mitrospec, like I was
playing. Yep, all of them.
Yeah, and those are the only companies I really like to be aligned with, are the ones that are big on education and advocacy. We need more of it. I've been yelling that to people and not having enough people listen to what I'm trying to say. Is like, we need more of this, and that needs to be more of a focus. We need lots more education.
It's, I'm not trying to downgrade anyone. It's just, we all can do better. And that's all I want to see, is all of us doing better.
Well, cannabis was illegal and unregulated for how many decades upon decades upon decades? You know, so if I have to be in the mindset to be against one thing, then I would have had to been against everything all along. And who was it for me to go tell somebody else what relieved them, what didn't, or what they could have? So, you know, I'm just, I mean.
Yeah, there needs to be more education, the difference between natural kratom and 7-OH.
Absolutely.
I think the people that have had issues, the people that have gotten addicted to 7-OH, because I've talked to countless people in my DMs in the last couple of years, and most of them say the exact same thing. They'll say the smoke shop either said, here's some stronger kratom, and they didn't take the time to go figure out exactly what it was, or here are free samples, try this. And they would say to me, like, it would be one scenario or the other typically, and they say, I knew I was in trouble when I tried it and I should have stopped there. So many people said that to me, and these are not the chronic pain people like many of us, and they got into this trap. And like, I don't blame them for, but there needs to be more education. If it was behind a counter with a pamphlet or something, maybe that would be better instead of just so easy to grab,
I agree with the education, especially with our lobbyists, because a good majority of them have no idea what they're banning. They don't know. They just, hear the gas station heroin or whatever it is, and they have no idea what they're banning. They have no freaking clue. And it's sad. It's really sad.
Yeah, for sure.
And there's all kinds of things in the smoke shop that, I mean, you don't know what all of it is. You have to do your due diligence to know, look into something before you pick it up or anything like that. I mean, it's full of stuff in there that I would have no clue what it even was, but they're full of them, there's things still in there. I don't think all of that is regulated or.
Yeah.
Well, it's like so many of these legislators just want, and I could be wrong. I have been before. I will be again. It seems like so many of these legislators just want their name on a bill. They don't care what the bill is. They just want their name on a bill.
Mm.
So let's write one and ban something. Why not?
Yeah. Extreme is asking who or where can I keep up to date on state and village ban call to actions. I recommend Robin's site, Botanical. Let me pull it up real quick. Put the link on here for y'all. That it's helpful to join all of the places. Okay, go to botanicalae.org. Go to protectkratom.org. I'm not going to ever not tell people. Go to my website. I've got 2 links to the AKA in my resources page.
Go to GKC. Go to AKA. Go to BAE.
GKC,
somewhere.
They're all linked over on my website. Join them all. There's no monopoly on one. They're all.
Jordan sends out texts. I mean, I got one earlier today. Jordan sends out a text with any state or whatever. And that's Jordan's at New Hope. Heart and Seven Hope Alliance. They have a lot of ban hearings because they're going to ban hearings for kratom. They're fighting for the whole plant. So I mean. There's a lot of places that you can get, you can find it, fastdemocracy.gov, all different types of places, that you can find, stuff for local and even, nationwide throughout the states.
Yeah. Yeah. There's lots of resources out there so you can stay up to date, especially since Facebook has made it virtually impossible to stay on top. You can be an anti-kratom page or community and you're allowed to stay, but if you're anything that's pro-kratom, that's why we have school. Join us over
I had
on the
another
school
one
platform.
taken down just a week or so ago, and it was from 2024. I think it was a GKC post. I have had tons from the AKA. I have tons from just advocates that they're constantly. You just constant. Some of them you get to appeal and get back. Other ones you don't.
I literally cannot even post to groups that I own until September of this year. And that happened last year.
That's terrible. Facebook is just.
Yeah, I can't comment or post in groups right now either because I shared a video.
Everybody needs to go to school. I've been yelling for 2 years. Everybody go to school.
That's where I've been headed.
This is the work I've been doing for 30 years is building online communities. That's why I started Kratom Real Talk over 2 years ago at school, because it's a place where there's no censorship. Substack is also good. I'm not seeing any censorship over there. I moved my newsletter over there. If anybody wants to get a weekly update on things, go sign up for my Substack newsletter. You go to substack.com, and then you can either just in the search type in Kratom Real Talk or do the @substack.com/ do the @ Kratom Real Talk, and it'll take you right to it. I've been doing a weekly newsletter for a long time, and I just put like the latest with the Kr8tom Gals, the podcast, advocacy news, things like that. So it's a great way to just stay up to date on things. So somebody Extreme wants to know what's Jordan's email, or go to newhopebotanicals.com. Does he have a sign up for his text thing on his? I think he has one on his website.
I think he does. If not, you could sign up on the email list, and I think the email list gives you the option to do the text list as well. He's definitely changed things since all of these ban hearings, so it's quite possible the number is up there.
Yeah, his new text thing he's doing is really great because he does these regular updates for everyone. Let me just see if it's on his website. I don't know if it's on there. I don't think I saw it on there. But what you can do is go to newhopebotanicals.com and reach out to him through there and just say you'd like to join his new text list, and he'll keep you updated. And that's just been great that he's doing. I mean, it's been great to see more people in the industry taking on these things. There are easy ways to advocate. Talk to us techies that know how to do this. You know, I know how to do all this stuff. I can direct people on how to do these things. It's great seeing some of the techies or vibe coding some apps and stuff now to help people advocate more and easily. And that's great. So, yeah. Thank you, Mel, for joining us. Appreciate it. All right. Yeah, we got to wrap up. We've been here too long. You know, we used to do these really long ones, and it's like, too much. It's fun doing this, but we've already been here for 2.5 hours. It's time to wrap up. But thank you all so much this has been great. It's a great conversation. It always is.
Thank you all.
It's great hearing everybody's
Yeah.
voices.
Thank you,
and
everyone.
thoughts and welcome to Amanda to being more of a regular instead of a guest from time to time. You always bring a lot of interesting perspectives to the conversation. And it's just always nice hearing, you know, what others think of these things we discuss. So it's great.
Well, thank you. I'm really happy to be a part of the girls.
Yeah. So I think we'll wrap up with the song Living the Kratom Life. Because of this plant, we're all able to do that, which is amazing. And yeah, I think we'll call this one. And y'all, thank you for spending time with us. Thank you to everybody that was here live. Y'all been here with us.
Thank you all.
A lot of y'all came here right at the start, waiting for me to press that button. Sorry, I was a few minutes late getting this going. But it's just great to see just so many amazing people in the chat, adding to the discussion. And it just makes for an even better chat when we see that. So,
and send a special positive thoughts up for Venus.
The Venus, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Venus has had a rough week, but she should be back soon. But yeah, thank you for mentioning that, Robin. All right, y'all. We'll see y'all soon. Take care. Have a great rest of your day.
Well wishes.
Bye, y'all.
Be well.
Woke up today feeling light. Grab my blend, ready for flight. Green mango, it's my start. Red barley to calm my heart. From dawn to dusk, I'm feeling free. With every leaf from the kratom tree, I take my dose, I feel alive. Yeah, I'm living the kratom life. Oh, I'm living the kratom life. So wild, every day I'm feeling revived. Capsules packed with nature's glow. Herbal realm, you already know. White flame when I need the drive. It's the power that makes me thrive. Mix it up, I found my way. Living the kratom life every day. From dawn to dusk, I'm feeling free. With every leaf from the kratom tree, I take my dose, I feel alive. Yeah, I'm living the kratom life. Oh, I'm living the kratom life. So wild, every day I'm feeling revived. Capsules packed with nature's glow. Herbal realm, you already know. You already know. When the day is long, I feel the strain. I know that kratom eases the pain. So I take my blend and I rise. With herbal realm, I touch the skies. Oh, I'm living the kratom life. You already know. Yeah, I'm living the kratom life. Ooh, 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 ooh. When the day is long, I feel the strain. I know that kratom ease